before that, you did Rent. I remember.
Are we going through my whole career right now?
I mean, because
I love it.
these are big.
Start with the beginning. You did a Chia Pet commercial.
I know that they seem like big events in your life, which they are. But hold up, the night that we watched him in Rent was the night I lost my virginity.
Was it?
Yeah,
I
dude.
never knew that.
I didn't see him in Rent. I saw him when he did In the Heights.
Oh,
Remember when you did that?
that was later on.
Yes.
That was a little bit later. Yeah.
That was later on.
Did you lose your virginity that night?
No, the girl I brought to that I'd been banging for a while. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So thank you. Yeah, it was
You're
crazy.
welcome, Christian.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It can't be that bad, oh, 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 it can't be that bad. Let's welcome the listeners. Let's welcome the baddies. Baddies, welcome to another episode of ICBTB's Highly Irrelevant. This is a very special episode because I am surrounded by people that I love right now. We have a very special guest, one of our best friends on this goddamn planet. We have Austin Scott III, right?
Yeah.
There's three of you?
Yeah.
You are the silliest. You look so cool, like on social media and all that stuff, but right now you have a weighted blanket
I was
on.
going to say, I had to give the weighted blanket a shout out. I fully am. I'm not going to keep it up here the whole time. But
You've never had a weighted blanket before?
I've never experienced it before.
At the
So
end of the
lovely.
episode, give it a full review. How many stars and like what you think?
Okay. I shouldn't like look into the camera, right?
Why not? I mean,
could.
we're the
It's
ones
just like
talking
right.
to you.
It's just like right there. for some reason, I don't usually have that impulse, but this time I just want to keep looking right into it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look into it the whole time.
You're a
but
film actor, and like when you're actually on set, do you not
We're
have
not
that
allowed
impulse to look?
to.
Oh,
Of course we're not allowed to.
He gets whipped with a wet
Here's
noodle.
a little known secret. We're not allowed to look at the camera.
you can't look at the camera. You
I
can't.
came on here. You're hearing this for the first time. You can't look at the camera. No, but like literally, we will do an entire take and like it'll be so good, and then like one person afterwards will be like, "I looked in the camera," and I'll be like, "God damn it!
Don't say
we
anything,
can't
Bill."
use that because like if one person does this in like a take, and like you can't use that take, then you can cut around it, but it's like."
But what's
know,
making
but I
you
do
want
it
to
all
look
the
at
time.
this camera?
It's a
I don't know.
pretty-
It's just right there.
It's kind of
Somehow
invasive.
it's not like usually it'll be like slightly off to the right or something like that. I'm not trying to criticize.
Do you want to just reset up my entire studio?
No. It's great. It's great. I just
nice
might,
to have
I might
you, man.
every now and then
Austin,
do
you're
it.
doing great, bro. You're doing great.
You're killing it, man.
Christian is not sensitive about anything. Definitely not his production skills of this
I'm
podcast.
not putting out this episode.
Oh, fuck, Austin.
It's great. We can move on from
Dude,
that.
I love you. We love you. It's
y'all
nice
too.
to have you in here. Happy holidays to you and yours, my
Thank
friend. For the listeners out there, if you don't know
Now you
Austin
know.
Scott, Austin is a terrific actor, a good friend of ours.
He is a Broadway actor. You're a Netflix star. You're a fantastic singer. You're a cool guy, an adequate friend. I hear you're a good fiance. And you fostered multiple puppies, haven't you? Not at once.
Oh,
But
wow. You did a deep dive there, didn't you?
mean,
I
I-
fostered one child.
Usually Christian's the
Did
interviewer.
you say a child? An actual human
It
child?
feels like a child.
We call our dog a baby so much that it just kind of happens. No,
My
we
dog's a
fostered
baby.
one dog, and then the other dog we just adopted.
You just
But-
kept. You.
Yep.
I think those are called foster failures.
No, because we didn't foster it.
Oh, you just sold them.
We just
That one's mine now.
sold it?
Stole.
Stole it.
Is that better?
Look at it, I guess.
Better?
Do you still get nervous?
What, like in interviews?
Just in general. Do you still get
Oh,
nervous?
yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's say like an audition. Do you still get nervous?
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah, I get nervous all the time. Especially like the first 3 days of any new project are hell for me. I'm like, I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't belong there. I don't I'll do like months of work and preparation and I'll get there and somehow feel like I have done
Should have done
nothing.
more.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh yeah, all the time. But it's just like become a part of it.
Was there ever a time when you felt anxious coming to set or coming to a project, and then those like fears or nerves were right, and like everything just like ended up
I
being
really
that?
didn't belong there.
And it just wasn't like a good vibe. Like, has that ever happened? Because we've seen you perform in a couple of different times now, and like you seem to have a very good connection with the cast and crew, and we know you, and we know you're a very likable person and stuff. But has there ever been a project that you've done where you felt on the outside or felt ostracized, but yet for the good of the project, you just kind of chewed through it?
Yeah, I don't know about ostracized, but there's definitely times where I just feel like I don't fit in as well. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not of the same culture or something, or we'll be doing a project. Like even right now, I'm doing this thing, this basketball series, and like most of the other guys playing these players either played professionally, like overseas or
sure.
something like that,
Yeah.
or like commercially, or follow basketball really well. And I'm showing up just like I don't know jack about.
I
it.
used
You know what I
to,
mean? Like,
yeah.
I used to follow basketball. I played.
Because when I talk about Vince Carter, like
right. But like they're talking about stats and there's, all
sure,
of these
for
things
sure.
and like, oh, this specific games 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I can't be a part of those
They're in it.
conversations.
They're
So
in it.
in that regard, I do feel like an outsider very
Sure.
much so. But
But that's when the camera's like off.
Yeah, exactly.
And you
When
don't
the
notice
camera's
it,
on.
when the camera's on, you don't notice it at all, right? Because you
Exactly.
guys are professional and stuff.
Exactly.
Do you feel like you could have had a better? Would it make a difference if you had that kind of connection to him and could like talk and stuff? Would it affect the on-screen persona or no?
I don't
Could
know.
it?
I mean, I think if everybody's good and everybody's professional,
Sure.
then like
It
you
should
can,
make a difference.
yeah. We find ways to
Of course.
manufacture that connection or find that connection, and then it's real on camera.
That's why you're professional actors. Yeah, exactly.
I am a professional actress. Thank you.
Your tits look great.
Thanks.
Do you get anxiety from like, because in your line of work, you're constantly meeting new people, and there's like
Being a
certain
plumber.
types of person. Being a plumber, you're meeting a bunch of different people. No, but being an actor, you're doing different projects and meeting like, and there's big personalities in the realm of acting. Does that like give you like some form of anxiety of like, oh man, I gotta meet new people. I have to like get along with them and all of that stuff.
I never feel like I have to get along with anybody. I think really like I want people to like me, and I want to like other people because it just makes the job more fun. But like, I think it's more for me, the anxiety comes more from a place of, am I good enough? You know what I mean? For this, like it's not that I don't feel like I'm good enough. It's just, I think it's a very natural thing, especially when you're working at a higher level. Like, I'll be at a table read and Lawrence Fishburne is right there, and Ed O'Neill and all these people around here who I idolize, and I'm like,
Ooh,
I'm
what
doing the
project had
same
Lawrence Fishburne
thing.
and Ed O'Neill together.
This project,
Really?
yeah.
Wow,
What the fuck?
that's great.
Sterling Affairs,
I
yeah.
was really hoping that you were secretly working on a return of not My Wife and Kids. What the fuck was that O'Neill show?
yeah. there
Married
was-
with Children?
Married with Children.
Married with Children.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. No, this one. But just like in moments like that where I'm just like, I idolize these people. Like they're
sure.
legends, and I'm like reading. I'm in a scene with them. You know what I mean? Like that takes a minute, and then
It's
I
surreal.
acclimate. Yeah, exactly. But
Let me ask you this. Does that make you perform better when you have those kind of nerves, knowing that you're performing in front of these people that you idolize? Or are you the type of performer where nerves kind of make it worse for you?
I don't think nerves help me ever. So like, for instance, when I was doing Hamilton, I never wanted to know when somebody famous was in the audience. Like, they would do that where they'd be like, oh my gosh, Draco Malfoy, Tom Felton is here, or, whatever. And I just don't want to know, because like, it's not necessarily that it's going to hurt my performance. It's just, I know it's not going to help.
Now it's there.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's a thing that I'm thinking about as opposed to just thinking about living out the story. You know what I mean? I don't like to think about a specific person in the audience, even if whether they're famous or not. I just don't like to think about that. So, I don't think it helps me, but I've gotten better at using it. I think, at just like channeling it, turning it into excitement or energy or something like that I can use. But
And that's what makes you successful, right? Because if it was crippling and you weren't able to do it, you wouldn't have the
it'd be
success.
pretty
that you
hard
have.
to,
It'd be pretty hard to
keep
do-
getting hired. Yeah.
do the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, because in your line of work, there is always going to be that nervous excitement because, I mean, especially like when you were still living in LA the first time, you had to audition for a bunch of things before landing like a very long committed project, right? And how is that like feeling? Because they say that, and I don't know if it was you that told me or someone else that was acting that told me, but like the average is about 1 in 50 auditions you'll land a callback.
Oh my gosh. A callback, that depends on where you're at in your career. I think callbacks are probably more frequent than that, or they can be. But yes, it can be very rare. Like I don't know, I've been acting semi-professionally since I was, pretty young, but before Hamilton, which was kind of my first commercial success, I probably went on like 400 to 500 auditions and got yeses on a very small percentage of those. So it's the vast majority by and large is no.
For sure. Well, yeah, that's the hard part about the career, right? And if you could guesstimate how many like yeses you got just in this last year, right? Since we're now in a new year, in 2022, would you say it's less than 10 yeses now?
Less than 10 yeses.
I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean,
because you can book a project that's not going to start for a year,
right,
8 months.
Right. It's harder to judge now. I mean, so I don't know how many projects I've done in the past year, but like for every project I've done, I've probably done at least 10 self-tapes.
For sure,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
That I didn't get. But everything's self-tape now. That's the
That's
other
true.
wild thing is like it used to be you go into a room and you could feel the energy and you know if they like you or not, and then you get a call back and there'd be more people in the room. Now you do one tape and 9 times out of 10, like that tape gets circulated to, you don't know how far you go sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I could go all the way to the executive producer and be the second option and not get it and never even know.
And it's just as good as if they threw it in the trash. When
Yeah,
they got it.
exactly. And didn't even show it, which a lot of times that happens. Like
course.
there a lot of times, casting directors and people, like they get so many tapes nowadays that they'll watch the first 5 seconds and decide if they want to keep watching or not, and you could do all this work on like 3 10-page scenes and doesn't even get watched.
And you have to engage them right from the get.
Yeah.
That's insane. And so, all in all, with the pros and cons for each of these auditioning types, whether in person or self-tape, which ones do you prefer? Or which one do you prefer between the two?
I prefer in person, I think, most time. Because there's an energy and stuff that you get to feed off of in the room that you don't get when you're in a self-tape. And like, also in a self-tape situation, you're having to be your own, like, videographer and you're having to choose your own takes and sometimes you can have help, but like I don't know, it's just I don't think an actor should really be judging their own performance like that. Should be like watching it back and then being like, ooh, okay, I want to do it again, or that's the take I want to submit. Like something about that feels weird to me.
This is what I think it is. I think I connect with that because just yesterday, so I'm trying to put out like a, how I do these singing covers and I put them on Instagram and like YouTube. With being able to record myself with these covers, I have the opportunity to be a perfectionist with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a beautiful thing, but also a crippling thing because you're going to do 1,000 takes because you're never going to be satisfied. As opposed to like if I were to just go out on stage and sing
it. What it is.
Right.
It is what it is, and I'll have more fun with it because there's the energy of the audience.
And your benefit though is that you are a very adequate, and I mean this in a good way. That was a bad word, but editor.
Thank you.
Right. And not to take anything away from you, Austin, but like, is it tough because now you're editing your own stuff and you're in it and you're trying to like, you're judging yourself what they want, not even judging for what you like, but what they like.
I mean that part for sure, because I don't really edit them together anymore. I kind of just send the raw clips to my manager, and then they help put it together.
And that's you need a manager to look at it and tell you like this is the one you should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Using,
That's
right?
massively helpful because another thing you don't get by not going into the room is you don't get feedback. You don't get like in a room you can do it once and be like, okay, awesome, that was cool. Try dropping this in, like let's do something different. In a self tape, you're just guessing. You're just like you're trying to do as many different variations as possible, and then maybe send them. Sometimes they'll accept more than one take of a scene, and you can show them different things. But a lot of times it's just kind of like, just let's guess and let's put something out there. And they oftentimes don't want to give notes because that takes more time.
Well, yeah, because how many people do they have to see in a single day?
Exactly.
And the casting director wants to do their best job. They're also doing a job too.
Exactly.
How many people have you met, doing this and being in the industry that haven't been able to like adapt to this new change? Right, like because this is all post-COVID.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, exactly.
Because it changed everything in the world. So it's like, are you noticing that there's some people who just aren't able to adapt to it and are just kind of, or has everybody? I mean,
I think everybody.
If you're working, everyone's successful to a point.
Everybody's adapting because they have to. But I mean, are they doing better now, or are they doing as well audition wise, like as before? I don't know about that.
Sure,
but it's. I think by and large, most people prefer in-person auditions that I've talked to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just because you miss that.
Will there, you think, be a generation of actors that would prefer this, like kids that are being trained right now, people that are learning, they're going to be trained in, right? Like at-home tapings
probably.
and stuff. So they'll be more comfortable in it. And
Think about Gen Z kids, dude. If we're living during this...
they've been recording themselves forever.
Yeah. They are professional film editors with TikTok. They are used to having a camera with them.
Right. That's a
good
We
point,
are shoving iPads into the hands of adolescent children.
Toddlers
That don't know what a home phone is. They
Right.
know what a screen in their hand is, and they know more so their own self-recording than their own reflection in the mirror, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so when they have the opportunity to do self-tape, they're going to be like, hell yeah, I know how to do this. I've been performing for myself
Right.
as a kid, as opposed to now, it's kind of dumbing down their ability to interact in person. So actually auditioning in person is going to make it a little tough for them because they're not as social. Because
That's a whole other conversation
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
social media and everything.
Because you could be
It's,
great at self-taping, and then once you show up on set, if you're a shit actor.
yeah.
Well, that I think is something that is missing too from not being like by not going into a room. One, they don't get to really get a sense for your personality and
course.
understand, how you're going to be, off camera,
with
just in
groups and with
general.
people, yeah.
But also, you're not getting a sense for them. Like, you're not getting to get, like, when I would go into a room, I get to also kind of audition them and be like, are these people I want to work with?
Exactly.
Are they, like, how do I feel about these people?
Do I want to be stuck with these people essentially 24/7 for the next 3 months,
Right.
4 months, right? It's yeah.
Do they seem passionate? Do they seem, like are they complete assholes? Like, you don't
Interesting.
know. But, I mean, this is all the negatives of it. In theory, though, it actually should make the whole industry more equitable because more people are being seen for these roles, right? You know what I mean? Like it used to be if you didn't
But are
live in
they,
LA.
or are they just watching the first 5 seconds?
Good question.
Yeah.
Exactly. That I don't know.
That's the tough part.
Exactly. But, before it used to be if you didn't live in New York or LA or one of these hubs, you couldn't really, go in and be seen for these. Or you would put in a self-tape, but sometimes in those days they wouldn't even watch any of the self-tapes.
because they have people coming in.
Because they have the names and stuff that they want to come in. So, yeah, on paper it should make it more equitable, but I don't know if that's actually the case. I don't know.
Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Everyone wants to do the nice things, but sometimes it doesn't.
That's right.
It's tough.
That's right.
Let's
This has turned into an acting podcast. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
this whole podcast start talking about movies, and we
Yeah,
have
it's
a
true, it's
real
true.
movie person here, and
I mean, it's just nice because like it's we've all
we like to take a change from fart jokes and dicks, bro. Like sometimes we want to be smart and talk about our emotions and our feelings.
and we can all connect to it because we've dabbled in acting and we all like doing something performance wise or performance adjacent. So it's so fascinating to like talk to one of our best friends and see like what your experience is and live through like your experiences. And also,
Well, yeah, and to quote Christian, you did the damn thing.
you did the damn thing. And
But we all like our relationship was formed doing the damn thing. Like
Yeah.
like we on improv team and like doing plays and stuff. Like that's like not how we met, but that's really how we got close.
Yeah,
It's on the
exactly.
cool- you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, I was trying to remember this actually just the other day. We met in the 2nd grade
Yeah, I've known you for a long
for a
time.
really long time, and like we had been making videos and stupid shit like
Yeah.
since the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
So we've always loved to do that and love to perform and be involved in stuff like that and be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Um,
But we got close. I would say we were close like young.
Yep.
And then we kind of drifted apart
Separated.
a little bit, and then we got close again.
Yep.
I don't know what that was, like 8th grade or 9th grade or
I think it
something
was.
like that.
Well, yeah, maybe we got closer once we got to high school for sure. But again, it really
Yeah.
was the first year that I was on the improv team.
Yeah.
And then the next year you joined the team as well, and we all did the musical and stuff. And then senior year was when we became like this holy trinity, right? that somehow became the front men of our senior class.
it was really,
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know. I think
They
we
couldn't have
just
picked a weirder group.
It was weird. I know we got called up by like Ron Wheat, right?
No,
like,
we got by the-
to like make a speech or something. I don't know
just
what
to
happened.
stand up at graduation. For whatever reason, at the graduation ceremony, they made the 3 of us stand up.
it was that
For what?
I don't know. I don't remember. I know. I was like, what did we do?
Yeah, I smoked weed in the parking lot. What are you guys doing
Vice
here?
Principal was saying, and we'd like to thank these 3 gentlemen, Austin Scott, Alejandro Middleton, and Christian Baltazar, for providing laughs for the class of 2011.
Oh, is that what it
And then
was?
when you guys stood up, like standing next to you two,
No,
just like
we stood up in our
towering.
seats. And
Yeah.
we were all so far apart from each other because Scott, Baltazar, and Middleton,
Oh,
like we
right.
weren't close to each other, right? So we're just like, hey, over there.
Well, but no, what I meant was like in general, just like walking with you guys, it was kind of like in Grown Ups. When Rob Schneider, to use this reference, when Rob
exactly what you're
Schneider's
saying.
daughters come from a distance, and it's they're like 2 hot girls, and the third one is the one that actually looks like Rob Schneider. I'm the one that actually looks like Rob Schneider at the time, and then like I think I've really formed into myself in my body. But
You look great, buddy. Don't change.
You were
Thank
the
you.
coolest among us. You always were the coolest.
how
among
was I
us.
Relax,
so listen?
Austin.
You just were. I'm saying, hey, let me.
Yo, you had the
shower him
shoulder
with
sway.
praise.
You had the shoulder sway a long
I
time
think he
ago.
said shoulder sweat.
Shoulder.
There's nothing cooler than some shoulder sweat.
Austin?
Super
I
sweaty on
didn't
the
know he
shoulders.
had sweat glands there.
But wow.
Does it even sweat from the
I saw you
pits?
put your arm around him. How did that feel?
Yeah, moist.
It's
So
just the
moist.
dumbest joke in the world.
If you don't think we'll beat that to death, we will. I remember when it was hailing at school senior year, and we like ran in. Oh, gross. We like ran into each other.
Is that Melissa? Okay.
Is that Melissa barking?
No, it sounded like a throw up.
She screamed a throw up. Yeah. We like ran into each other on the way to the bathroom, and it was hailing, so we were playing in the hail. And one of the
We were playing in the
hail, throwing it at each other and shit. And then one of the like campus supervisors drove up on us and was like, "Keep doing that. I want to take a picture."
Rather than fearing for your safety because it's hail,
or telling us to go back to class because it was the middle of class.
Wow.
We got away with some stuff because we made people laugh. Like I feel like we did get away.
You gotta
with some
make
stuff.
you gotta make the faculty like you if you want to get away with shit in high school.
Well, I think it's just important, and I've brought this into like every job that I've worked at as like one of the skill sets for
Hail
me
fights.
to get hired is just being really good at throwing hail at people. No, is boosting morale. I mean, like that. I think because when I work in biotech, I work in a team constantly, and like you have to know how to talk to people. You have to know how to like boost morale in a strenuous situation. You have to know how to work under pressure and all that stuff, which is where our performance came in. And I'm grateful because I learned from you two a lot through improv. Because I was so nervous before actually joining the improv team, and then like gaining the courage and bravery to just get up on stage with nothing planned, like is such a beautiful concept. And like,
Well, and for me, improv is the only thing that I've ever never gotten nervous for. Everything else,
That's the only thing you've ever gotten nervous for is improv?
No,
not
everything
really?
else. It's crippling anxiety. I mean, you've seen me at open mics and like trying to do different things. Like, I have pretty crippling anxiety when it comes to being like on stage and stuff like that. But improv has never been a problem for me. Like I always feel better doing that. For whatever reason. But there was a time also when I wasn't afraid to get on stage. And I can notice that now I have there was a good time, probably senior year, because I had such a fucking inflated ego that I wanted to be in front of people at any given time.
Yeah.
Now it's I'm more realistic with it. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't be up there. Maybe I shouldn't be up here right now. No one's laughing.
Well, I think two things. One, we were very lucky that we were at a school where improv was cool.
yeah,
Quote unquote. People liked improv. Like people actually came to the improv shows and would laugh and it was a thing.
Yeah, what else are they going to do?
I guess that's true, but I think there's a lot of schools where you go to the sports games and
That's true.
the improv is not really cool. So that was one thing that was cool. But the other thing is, did I completely lose my thought? This is why I should never start with a list of two things.
You forget the second thing?
Exactly. No, here it is. The other thing is nothing could go wrong. Right?
Yep,
there was no script. There was no parameters to stay within. You just, if something didn't land, you just did something else. You just kind of kept pushing it until you got a laugh or until you whatever.
Well,
but it's
we
nothing
always used
can
to
go
joke,
wrong.
especially senior year and stuff like that. Like if any scene starts going wrong, me and you would just throw ourselves on the floor.
Exactly. There was always a way to save it and turn it into something.
And save it with a big laugh.
Right.
And I think what helped us quite a bit is we cracked the code
right.
pretty early. And
Right.
we're this is how it's done.
I remember I had this one reoccurring joke where it was this evil gnome.
Gnome.
Remember the
Yeah.
gnome
Yes.
thing? And if ever a game of World's Worst or something wasn't going well, I would just go and just drop down on my knees and do this and everyone would lose it. And that was such cheap humor. It was not smart. I was just recycling a joke that worked one time.
And if you weren't there 4 weeks ago or 4 shows ago.
Right.
You got it.
Right.
Well, the beauty of high school improv is that we don't have to perform comedy at the top of our intelligence. And the other...
Whoa, that was the top of my intelligence.
I know. I
At
peaked.
that time, yeah.
But
Did you not hear my Ross Perot joke back then?
that's actually, impressive though. But with doing high school improv, we had the same people coming to the shows, right? And so they
Yeah.
were able to acquire these inside jokes like a serial killer gnome and whatnot.
Which is probably why they liked us, right? Which is why they kept coming back.
Yeah.
Because we would feed into these inside jokes and stuff like that make them feel like they're a part of the show.
Right.
But nowadays it wouldn't pass. Let's say if we were to do sets, I don't think they do improv at the Comedy Store. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But there's such a rotating roster of audience members because it's such a big venue that you can't do inside jokes unless they know you from something else.
Which is probably why places like UCB and all that shit had their own theaters.
Yes.
And you could have the people who come here every week. And you know what I mean? Yeah, improv is very unique in that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you both probably experienced this, but like I moved to LA after high school and was, like, improv. I know how to do improv. Like I may not be trying to figure it out auditioning and all this stuff, but like I know I can go do improv. So I signed up for like, I don't know, Groundlings or something like that, and got torn apart.
Whoa.
Like did
Really?
all the things that I thought were funny, and like the teacher would just be like, that's not funny, or that's lowbrow, or like
That's
that's
not what we're
cheap,
doing
or
here.
that's yeah, exactly.
I got that a little bit when I first joined.
Dragon Viper Cobra.
Yeah, because you guys had Greg Reasoner had it so well done and so down to like a science. He's the only person I've ever met who has successfully figured out like the science and mathematics of improv. And at first, especially with the way I was and kind of how I was, I wasn't willing to accept it. And it wasn't until later on when I really saw like his talent with it and his really incredible grasp on what it is that it finally like, oh, I get it. But that's how I am with everything. Like you have to like show me show your work.
Sure.
But because improv is incredibly serious, it's taken seriously now.
Yeah, they were trying to turn me into a more mature comedian. I just don't
What were
think
they
I was good at that.
trying to teach you? Do you remember like clearly like what the curriculum was like and like what you were doing and what they were shooting down?
Well, the first class was how to blow Harvey Weinstein.
my
The
God.
second class was
no. We're gonna steer this back.
So you have size 15 feet.
Size 15, exactly. Let's just start back there, and then we'll find our way back to
Okay,
this.
all right.
No, I don't remember the curriculum. I just remember them saying
That's not what we're
always
here
some
for.
version of that's not what we're here for, or just like that is cheap, or that is that's low hanging fruit. Like don't go for that. And like it did really put me in my head quite a bit to the point where that's probably why I stopped doing improv, because I remember in high school I just would do stuff, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was beautiful that it was good, but it felt beautiful because it was so freeing. Yeah, but was it art? I don't know about that. Like I could
It wasn't
never
that
have
moment.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. But I think they were trying to get me to the next level where I could become something like Whose Line Is It Anyway, like Wayne Brady or something like that, and that is just a whole other level of mastery that I never had. But
And we're really similar in the sense of, especially something like improv that we've been doing for so long and done so well and been successful in it. It's tough for us to take change,
yeah,
whether it's good or bad or we agree with it or not. To the point where, like, as much as I learned and grew from Dragon Viper Cobra and from Greg and stuff, I always took all those lessons and stuff that I learned, but purposely still never stopped the kind of humor and stuff that I've always had, because for me, and especially at that time, I was like, well, I'm trying to find like my comedic identity and shit like that. And I was really trying to double down on the character that I'd play. And, but learning to do it that way, the technical side of improv was something that, if we wouldn't have learned that, we wouldn't be able to do the show and be able to do this stuff. And the biggest thing that I think maybe it must have been Greg or somebody told the both of us, because of course Christian and I would do scenes together all the time, was like, we don't know how to end. And like the first time I heard that, like it opened everything up to me. Like that's why I never finish a script, because I don't know how to end shit. That's why Christian has to end every episode, because I don't know, because I'll just keep going until I'm out of breath. Like that is, and like that is such a conscious thing that I wouldn't have thought about unless I had been uncomfortable and put into this position where somebody does know more, and I have to be able to accept it and grow and learn and just trying to adapt.
I think what we learned, the structured improv, whether it's from Groundlings, whether it's from Upright Citizens Brigade, whether it's from Dragon Viper Cobra, it gives you a template. You're not supposed to follow it, even though there is a science. You're not supposed to follow it like a religion.
For Dragon Viper Cobra, yeah, but UCB and Groundlings, we know they wanted it to be a religion.
They wanted to,
because they wanted you to buy in and get to the next level, get to the next level, and get to. That's the only problem. That you're right. Ideally, it should be exactly what you're saying. But we know with those two in particular, it very quickly became a money-making scheme. And it's weird,
Absolutely.
like how nobody thought a group of improv actors weren't going to be able to run a company. It's almost like as soon as they got the next best thing, they'd leave. Of course their company fucking collapsed.
But I mean, take it for what it was when it was existing.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does.
But improv actors, it's a tough group to make them run a company that's supposed to be indefinite.
Yeah.
To start a school and teach people, no, they're going to take the next great opportunity and go. And that's why they did. That's why they went to Saturday Night Live and started Kids in the Hall and started,
But I think that's what they wanted it to be, was to like, hey, let's provide you with these tools and skill sets so that you could take it into the real world, which is why, I mean, I've noticed from the one weekend that I went there and I watched like a good amount of shows, I within the next year or two, I started recognizing people from those live shows in commercials.
Yeah.
I started recognizing people. Do you remember Dropout TV has that Game Changer show? There's like 5 people that I saw in that weekend alone from the Improv 101 class, not 101, their graduating class that I saw that weekend on that show.
Well, and to me that, and this is just me because I'm the cynic of our group, that doesn't give more credo to these groups. That gives more credo to these people and how hard they're working. These groups are just the next facet and the next step that they had to do to get into the industry and stuff like that. But think about how many people take groundling classes and UCB classes thinking that they were going to get up and up and up, and like they just didn't. Now that could also be they just maybe didn't have that dog in them. You know what I mean? But
well, I think it also has to do with like, I think I took that class and heard the tools and processed them as rules and got really like in my head about, oh, I can't do this and I have to do this. And when this happens, this must happen. And I think people who are actually successful, and this goes for, I think, any training program in acting is...
in anything.
In anything, really. But yeah, like take what you learn as tools and not rules. And then you're able to keep yourself and your freedom and all the things that make you a good artist or a good whatever. But you have these tools.
Well, that's surprising that you're saying that, because you're the one who taught me and told me that, like, you know, when I was trying to do auditions and stuff, and I was calling, in fact, the very, very first audition I ever did for anybody, you were there with me. You drove out and met me there. And I went in, it was like in the back of a tile shop. And I was like, Austin, is this weird? And you're like, no, this is actually pretty standard for what's going on over here. But yeah, so like, you have, shit, I lost it.
What did I teach? What did I say to you?
You told me that when you take, not acting classes, but not seminars,
Workshops.
I remember you told me really early on, because I had signed up for a workshop, and you were like, look, they're going to say a lot of stuff and they're going to tell you a lot of things and you're going to agree and disagree with a lot of it, but be present for all of it. And I don't think these are the words you used.
These are, well, I hope they were.
These are good words. And maybe that's why I'm remembering it.
I'm going to claim all of these.
You got to be present in the moment, and then afterwards figure out what you learned there and what's going to be useful.
Wow.
And I remember going to that workshop, and I think it wasn't even an acting workshop. It was an editing workshop that I had gone to, learning like Final Cut Pro 4. And it really was like, okay, well, I'm going to take what I learned and go from there. And that has always been kind of like my mantra, especially like as a bartender and stuff. You go to a new restaurant, everyone wants to teach you their way and how they do it. You got to take, okay, that's how you want to do it, but I know how to make a mojito. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because you're, again, like I said, you're the one who told me to be like, you're supposed to take what you need and stuff, because
that's cool.
I mean, you go to a workshop or anything, they're going to hand you a toolkit, right?
Yeah.
UCB or whatever it is, or John Smith's acting class, they're going to hand you a tool belt, and then you get to leave with it because it's free, because you paid for it.
Right.
But, I only needed the fucking Phillips head screwdriver. I didn't need the hammer.
Right. And then as you go on and you work and you meet people and stuff and you work with other people, you might take one of their tools and maybe, discard one that doesn't work for you, and, put that in your tool belt.
This hammer does work here. This is exactly what I needed for this moment. And
I mean, like, even outside of the realm of performance, like improv and what I've learned with improv has just helped me as a person.
Yeah.
Has helped me with like small talk, which I kind of hate if I don't care, but like it helps you just like think quickly on your feet and like be a little bit witty. It helped me with talking to girls, because prior to improv, like I was nervous to hug girls back in the 8th grade.
You were nervous after too.
Afterwards, yeah, I was nervous up until my very first kiss, but it taught me like how to like be comfortable in myself and know, like, Christian, you are a funny guy. Yeah, like you have a personality there.
And that was our mistake, teaching you that.
Oh, telling me that was funny guy.
Just keep derailing him.
Just
keep
cool,
popping.
Christian, you're like,
just keep popping him.
We learn all these things.
You're doing great, Christian. It's fine.
Work harder, a little bit more.
Oh, you got never good enough.
More pounds. We do, and you're right. We learn it, and we apply it to our real life. I mean, do you ever walk away from a interaction or something and be like, oh, that was like this thing that I've learned coming out again, or because for me, I mean, I always notice that, like, I'll say something and be like, oh, that was. I told Christian the other day, I had an interaction with a stranger, and the guy was like, oh, like, thank you, like that made my day or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's Christian. That's Christian talking to me all the time. And because, so have you ever noticed using tools in public? And
yeah, I mean, first of all, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it comes to me more in like, I have all these voices, like different people's voices in my head that are teachers. They're different teachers or different, like, friends or things like that. And like in moments I will have I don't even think I'll necessarily connect that voice to a specific person, but I'll just kind of hear the lesson or the wisdom and it just like integrate it. And like, that's cool because that happens more and more now that I've just like,
For sure.
you know, had more teachers and stuff. But also I think I realize it when I react differently to something. I react in a way that's just not the way I would have reacted 2 years ago. And I clock that, you know, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's growth. Exactly. That's growth. That's a lesson learned.
And it's almost subconscious.
Right.
Because you don't clock it in until
Right.
after it occurred.
Exactly.
Right? And then that's when you start hearing the voices of the teachers or friends in the past. You're just like,
Exactly.
that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful, because in like different instances, I've heard your guys' voices in my head after certain decision making, like because, you know, growing up, being too nice. And so when I finally like have an instance where I've stood my ground and it worked constructively for me, I think of Alejandro's voice in my head. When I think of like something performance wise and just like, you know, really like a confidence booster, what you've told me, like when I've told you like, hey, I know I'm doing this like 9-to-5 job, I want to do this instead, and you're telling me just like do the damn thing, you know, and like do it. That's like your voice in my head. And so I think it's just a part of being human, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
These tools that we pick up along the way. But I think it's part of just growing up, being aware that there are tools that we picked up along the way.
Yeah.
I don't
Absolutely.
know, man. You don't want to get back into improv of any sort. You don't have the time to do so.
Maybe someday. No, I every time I start a new job or something, especially if I'm like, you know, going through that first rough period where I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I can't find the character. I can't find my way into it. I'll talk to like my acting coach. I'm like, maybe I'll do improv or something. And she's always like, no. don't do something that could mess with your confidence, you know, even more. Where it's just, you know, it's probably not the right time. But I think at some point I will, because I do miss there's a, I don't know, a release and just a freedom that comes with improv that I miss for sure.
Well, like coming home to Benicia. It's coming home. It's something that
Yeah,
we've been
it's
doing
home.
so much
Exactly.
when we were kids, and we have so many fond memories of it and stuff.
Exactly.
I always remember when we did the talent show. When the three of us hosted the talent show, and you know, we would write stupid skits for the in between stuff and shit, and like, but it all just came back to being our improv skills, because
Half of it was improvised.
yeah. It was. I would like, I want us to do this and this and say this thing to end it, and then the rest of it had to be filled in. And I mean, and we were comfortable enough in that time to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many people at that age are?
Yeah.
Whether they're inclined to this kind of performance or not. It's one thing to make it all up. It's another thing to write it down.
What that did for me though was like finding such like a beautiful performance outlet at that young of an age was like tasting crack really early, right? Because now all I wanted to do was chase it. And like every now and then, like I would get that high. When I was performing regularly with Dragon Viper Cobra, I would hit that high. When I was performing regularly with my a cappella group, I would hit that high. That reminded me of those old days in high school, which is a good and bad thing, right? But like it depends on how you use it. Like I'm trying to channel it like through this podcast to like try to chase it.
Well, you know what it is. You know, I think why it feels so good is because it's flow. It's that. Have you heard the concept of flow, which is like, you know, when you're
rapping,
it can be
really good.
Exactly. Exactly. No. It's, you know, it's like it can happen when you're writing. It can happen when you're doing anything. But it's just like you're not thinking anymore. You're not like, you know, thinking, okay, now I'm going to do this. Should I do this? I'll do this. Or, you know, you're being calculated. You're just doing. You're just doing and living freely. And I feel like improv is one of the purest forms of that. Like we would just be in flow all the time. And like to this day, when I'm, you know, doing a project or I'm, you know, in a play or something like that, when I hit those moments, and it can be pretty rare, but like when I hit those, oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. And I recognize now that is what I got to feel 90% of the time doing improv in high school. Yeah. And so of course you want to chase that, because that's when you feel the most integrated, the most yourself, and the most in tune with yourself is when you're just in that flow state.
You call it flow. I call it being in the pocket.
Love that.
Because I say that all the time with Alejandro, like getting in the pocket.
Yeah.
And I call it jacking off.
Great.
So
whatever you got to call it, you know.
It's the different from when I, you know, do the act of jacking off. But that's just what I call it. It's just a name.
There you go.
You're in the middle of an improv scene. It's going great, and you're just like
this great jacking off.
And the girl that you're like doing the scene with is just like, I need to talk to the instructor.
When you're doing a death scene, it's like,
Okay.
I'm gonna run down and grab another drink. Does anybody, you need water or anything? Is anybody?
Can you grab me another one of these, please? Do I?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good,
Austin
thank you.
wants nothing from me.
Do you want another weighted blanket?
Yes, please. Just give me like 7 of them. Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
What
I'll
happens?
make sure the
Do you
cameras
just
are good.
stop?
No.
Just keep.
I just edited
keep
out.
talking.
I just edited
He
out.
just sits here in silence. It's great
Yeah.
radio.
This is so fun.
And now it's women from this is so fun.
Cool. Hey, listeners. Christian here.
Here's to you, Austin. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah,
Cheers.
we
Proud of
are
you.
back.
All of your
Where's
success and stuff, man. Watching you grow it's been fun to see how far your career has taken you, man. And it's awesome to know how much.
And we're happy to be
Thank
a
you.
part of the ride because it was so flattering when I remember it was like in San Rafael. I believe it was San Rafael or Redwood City that you had a viewing of what was it called? Prep School.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, I remember
Prep
that. Oh,
School.
yeah, thank you.
And
for
that was
coming
like
to
one of the first times where we saw you as an actual villain because the first time we had
I see him as a villain.
we did the
Bailey.
mostly what I play.
But yeah, you're always
I
like
know, I'm
you're
always the
always
bad
a
guy.
villain.
typecasted
I know.
as the antagonist.
The worst villain was Alexander Hamilton.
He was.
He had some problems.
We're not
All
gonna
of
get
those
into
men
that
had
yet.
problems.
But you start off with Gaston, who was like like literally a cartoonish villain,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, it's fun. It's easy to kind of brush that one off, but like you just kept on becoming the villain.
Well, and I want to say about your role as Gaston is I remember when we were doing the senior musical, that had been my 4th musical at the high school, right? And I really wanted Christian to be involved in it, and it was a pretty easy sell to get Christian to audition. But I remember you being super against it because at the time, and I'll never forget you even said this, you're like, look, man, I've done musicals. I'm tired of doing musicals. Like, I just don't want to do the musical thing. I was like, come, like, just be in an audition. Like, we'll have fun and we'll hang out. And then I feel like you almost took the audition, like, just to make me shut up. And then you did it, and then it was great, and we had such an awesome time.
We
and
did.
Had such
That
a
was
great
so much fun.
Yeah.
like moment together with all of us. But I will, and now all you do is like not all you do, but you've done a lot of
Yeah.
musicals. You did like the biggest musical in the last 10 years for sure. And so I remember like telling people when they would be like, "Hey, I heard Austin's doing Hamilton," and my response would be like, "Yeah," and he hated musicals before I got him to do it.
That's funny, and I do remember that. The funny thing is, though, I still don't consider myself a musical theater person. Like, I do musical theater, but
Yeah.
I don't know shit about it. Like,
You don't go and study it. You don't know
like
a bunch of musicals.
I don't know the classics. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? I'm not like a
sure.
musical theater head
Yeah.
to the degree that like most other people that I work with are, and I've always felt kind of
they're
weird about that.
They got to be extremely
Yeah, exactly.
into it.
Like this has been their lifelong dream to like. It's always been my lifelong dream to act for sure. But like to act. But yes, but to specifically be in a musical on Broadway, like
in this theater where they
Right.
did the first run of
exactly.
Billy's Bob.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and exactly,
Yeah.
and wait. We should write that musical, Billy's Bob.
Billy's Bob.
That's a dope name. Somehow.
Thank you. Thank
but
you.
no, yeah, like I just don't know that history the way
sure.
they do. You know what I mean? So that's just been an interesting.
That's how I
thing.
feel about acapella. Like a majority of my singing career in my later life has been through acapella. Like if when I actually was monetizing as a vocalist was through a 5-piece acapella group. And a lot of the times people that would be in the audience or like other acapella groups that we'd run into in like competitions or showcases, they would always come up to me. They'd be like, "Hey, so were you guys influenced by like this acapella group and this? Did you hear the latest album of this?" And like I don't know. Like I like listening to like the music that I listen to, and I actually don't like acapella music. It's like it's
It's a tough sell.
there's
Period.
a fine line between it being like super cheesy and corny, and like there's like this area
Pentatonics.
that
You know, like,
was
yeah.
able to make it palatable, right? But yeah, I connect with you on that. But it was still very much how you just want to act. You want to act.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to sing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I
I wanted to act and sing, and I was like,
And dance.
"Oh, you can." No, I never was good at dance. Actually, that's true. I
No,
did
you've
dance.
always been
that's
a good
true.
dancer.
But I wasn't a 5, 6,
Watch
7,
me
8
dance.
dancer. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
more of a
I do it.
freestyle dancer or whatever. But like I liked singing and I liked acting, but for some reason the combination musical theater just never really like clicked for
Well,
me
if your
until then. Really,
If your parents aren't into it, right? Like
Sure.
my dad growing up weirdly loves musical theater. Like his favorite movie/musical is probably Fiddler on the Roof. And so it's like, and so growing up, we watched a lot of stuff. And it wasn't until recently my dad pointed out, he's like, me and your mom made a choice early on to take you and your brother to a live theater show once a year. And it was always around Christmas time. And it was either a musical or a play, but we've seen ballets and we've seen, we've seen a bunch of different things. And I never realized like how influential that was for me and how much that stuck.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Like I know a lot about these musical theaters things and stuff where it's like surprising for other people.
Yeah.
Right. Like one of my favorite stories that I always tell is my buddy Chris, who is that level 10 Broadway head, was talking to another level 10 Broadway head. And it was right after Stephen Sondheim had passed away. And I'm a guy's guy. I'm a pretty, like, I really come off pretty gruff. And their thing was like, Alex doesn't even know who we're talking about. And I was like, I know Stephen Sondheim. My favorite musical that he does is fucking Assassins. And they're just like, you know Assassins? Like, that's a pretty deep cut. And I'm just like, I know shit, guys. Like, I know Patti LuPone. Like, I know them all. Like, I may not seem like the kind of guy who listens to all this shit, but like, fuck, like I can talk to anybody about anything. Yeah. Right. And that's just kind of where I like that, to have that surprise. Yeah. People are like, oh, like you know that, like you know musical theater, and like, yeah, I do. Yeah. And I've been in a fucking couple
surprised,
shows.
Aren't you?
Yeah. I've done jazz dance. Like, that's a fucking shoes.
You do like a triple pirouette in front of them. And you're like, boom.
Well, you've seen me do a single pirouette and flatten my face.
Yes, I've seen that.
So we don't
very
need to go
impressive.
I believe that. No, I remember there was when Sondheim died. Like, obviously, I know who Sondheim is, and I have so much respect for him. But like, they brought together a bunch of Broadway folks to sing Sunday. In Times Square, and so I was there, and like, it was, right here was Josh Groban, right here was Sarah Bareilles, and Lin-Manuel Miranda was there sobbing, and it was this, and I'm like reading off of the lyric sheet. They just have it, and I felt almost disrespectful to a degree, because I was like, I venerate, and like, I know Stephen Sondheim, but like, how do I not know this song? Everyone here knows this song. And that was just one of those moments where I did feel like an outsider. I felt like I'm like an imposter. I'm like, I do this for a living, but I don't know it.
I'm not on this level.
Yeah, exactly.
When David Bowie died, I remember me and my cousin having this conversation of being like, I think we just missed out on like one of the single greatest artists in history. And after that was when I was like really got into it. Wasn't until a couple years later when I got like really deep into David Bowie. But I just remember having that conversation of being like, looking at how it affected other people. That's what it was seeing how it affected so many other people, of being like, oh wow, we really didn't. Prince too, actually. It's like, we really didn't, for me, didn't really give him the credit that he deserved. Like, of course I know Prince is a savant and everything, but like, same thing with Stephen Sondheim or any of these people. You kind of forget how good they are, because by the time we've come around, they were already great. Right. They've already been established greats. And then, so of course they're people's heroes and stuff. And it's just really, I think we're in a really interesting time because of the internet and because of our knowledge and because of particularly the three of us, our quest to want to be able to have a conversation with other people about things. We're learning about these fans and these heroes that they had, and we can see how connected they are. And like, it's just, for me, I'm like, you're very into this thing and you're really into it. And like that's impressive to me, you know, to be around it and be in the moment and clock it, right? How many times are we in the moment of things, basketball games that we see that these guys remember, or stuff that we like, I remember Tom Brady's first game when Drew Bledsoe got hurt, but I only remember it because I've seen it so many times like afterwards. But I watched that game, I watched it happen. But my memory of it is like being told of it over and over again, and like having that connection. Yeah. I don't know. I think I've been drinking more than either of you guys have.
No, that's good, though.
So
I'm on the train with you.
Oh, you're not rambling at all, dude.
You're good.
Oh, thank God. You can cut that part out then.
Oh, I have a question. This is kind of a personal cut. Someone told me, actually 2 people told me, this was like a few years ago now, but someone from high school, I was like sitting down and like having dinner with them, and they were like, yeah, you were kind of a jerk in high school. Wow. Was I a jerk in high school? Like, if the phrase Austin Scott was a jerk in high school, I'm curious what your response is to that. Because I know to a degree I was, because like, I was a 15, 16-year-old, whatever. But like, that was an interesting, because it was a friend, and then it also was a yard duty. It was like a yard duty mentioned it.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. And they were like, you're great, but yeah, you were kind of a jerk. And I was like, oh no. That sucks.
2 things immediately. Is if somebody said that to me about you, my response would be like, well, then you probably didn't know Austin very well. For sure. That's the number one thing. And then the other thing is, my old phrase is, everyone loves a jerk, no one loves an asshole.
What I have to say to that is that I think you were very confident. You were doing a lot of things, and that could often be misconstrued as being a jerk, depending on who's perceiving it, because high school is a time where everyone's insecure. So
I mean, I
instead
definitely
of
was insecure too. It may have looked like confidence, but it definitely wasn't.
Well, you're a performer.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
we're all insecure to a certain amount of time or
Yeah.
to a certain degree, because that's why we want to like do improv and be a different person, or
Yeah.
like that's why we want to get validated through.
I was gonna make a joke, but you're right. That's
That's really what it is, dude.
damn it.
But that's why comedy comes in, because it's like a defense mechanism, because like that's how
Word.
we deflect, right?
Right.
So we're all fucking insecure.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if we were ever jerks, or if like maybe you were sarcastic, maybe you
Yeah.
just
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure I was. It's just like my memory is so terrible that like I'm like hear that and I'm like, oh shoot, I probably was. And to anybody that I was a jerk to, I apologize. The 16-year-old Austin was probably a jerk.
Do you
to some
think
people,
you
but,
were a
like,
jerk?
I think I probably was too. I don't think I was a jerk black and white, but I think I probably was a jerk at times. You know what I mean? I did jerky things more than I choose to
popular dance.
remember. Huh?
Very popular dance by our senior year.
You're really putting our age out there, yeah.
Wait, our what?
You remember the jerk?
Oh, the jerk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look, here's how I know you weren't, because we all got sent to the Challenge Day thing. Remember Challenge Day senior year?
I do.
And you two were on the other side of the room than I was, because I was on the side of the room of people who had been reported to be bullies.
Cheers,
Really?
Austin.
And you guys were on the
Oh.
side of the room of people who were like good influences and people to look up to and strive to be. But I will never forget looking across the room and being like, why is Austin and Christian over there? And I'm over here.
Just having a great time playing pat a cake.
Yeah, and then looking around and being like, I'm not a bunch of assholes. I'm not like, none of these guys are my friends. All my friends are over there.
Did you walk up to a teacher with a clipboard and be like, there must have been a mix
Well,
up?
no, because they explained it right there. They're like, everybody who got a red letter had been reported to be a bully. Everyone who got a blue letter was either someone who had been bullied or somebody we want them to look up to. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, do you think you were a bully?
I know I was mean to a couple of kids in particular, but fucking one of them had it coming. He was a dick to me first.
Well, that happens sometimes.
And you know what? No one ever believed me, but it was true. He threw the first jab.
How did it make you feel to be separated like that? Because I barely remember that, but it just like makes me wonder, was that good to like separate people into like good and bad, or
No.
like, you know, good influences, bad influence? Like at that age, that seems
It's eye opening, right? But wasn't that the theme of like Challenge Day, to like make the bullies cry? Because there was a TV show on MTV about it too, and it was just all of that of like, you don't understand how this makes me feel, and then the bully cries and it's like, it's because my dad does the same thing to me, and it's like, see, we're all fucked up. But the truth of the matter was, did I feel different? I think it was the first. No, I think it was the first time I realized that what I think is funny and what makes my friends laugh could be harmful to other people. And there's only one kid in particular who I like know it was harmful to. And that's not the guy who threw the first jab. That guy fucking deserves it.
Well, do you think so? It worked for you constructively, would you say? To be
Well, because I'm not a bully. I'm not a bad person inherently. Whoever signed that up and said that I was a bully to them, should have, and of course there was no way for them, should have come and talked to me about it and said something to me, or because if I would have known that I was hurting somebody's feelings or making them feel ostracized or make them feel like I was bullying them, I wouldn't have, especially not at that time. You know what I mean? I was really confident in who I was, and I wasn't afraid to be, but I also knew how to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Wasn't afraid to make the joke.
You know what was tough about that whole Challenge Day and like being divided and being categorized? I think that's what was wrong,
Right.
is that we were being categorized, because they said people here are the nice people, quote unquote, and people here are bullies.
Yeah.
The fact that they're using that word bully is so like it's so defining to your entire person.
That's what 10 years removed from it. I cannot forget it. I mean,
Right.
you guys have kind of like, it's a memory, but like, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember the letter. I remember when they separated us. I remember looking around and like,
Yeah.
seeing
Well, if
it.
it's still like triggering you, like from looking from the other side and knowing who you actually are, I don't think, and you know, this might be cliche, but like there are just moments where, you were mean to someone, but you can't let these moments define you as a full character.
And maybe a con is it's actually made me feel empathy for bullies. Makes me think that maybe there's something that we're missing or that we don't know. And, you know, we need to give that moment to be understanding and rectify it, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Do you think that?
haven't thought
I think
about
it's
that
just
more.
the word.
I
don't
know.
know. The
I
word
know I was a
bully's
bully
weird.
though, and I've accepted it. I mean, I was mean to you. I was mean to a lot of my friends growing up. And I know I was, and I can look at it back now and classify it as insecurity as a boy, becoming a man, looking for some sort of direction, and my direction was gangster films. You know, I recently had this epiphany of like, you know, why boys love gangster films? They love Scarface and Goodfellas and Godfather. It's because when you're a teenager growing up, that's who you want to grow up to be.
Right.
But then you get to our age when suddenly you realize like all these gangsters died at 23 and 24, and that's a fucking child. And it's like, now I'm aged out of it, and it's like, yeah, of course fucking Henry Hill ratted on the mob to save his family and his life. That's what you do when you're an adult. Only a child believes this fucking till muerta thing that the Italians have, because every Italian fucking turned on the mafia anyways, you know? So it's like, we grow and mature, right? And I don't blame anybody for the decisions that they make, especially as children, because you have to quantify it. You got to take a step back and like look at it. But their actions and motives can still be a dick, still very harmful. I'm not trying to negate that it's harmful.
Right.
I mean,
We've been doing a lot
Well
of
said.
self-reflecting.
Well said.
Now that it's like the end
Thank
of the
you.
year,
Yeah.
I think it's that time of year where we self-reflect. So in our last episode, our Christmas episode, we had like a lot of talk about who we are. Like, have you been doing a lot of self-reflecting with this past year? Has the year 2022 been good to you? Would you say?
Has it been good to me?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I'm super, super grateful for this year. I think I'm always pretty self-reflective though. I think I lean towards that quite a bit. I don't know why. I think it's just kind of part of the way I'm wired, but
I can tell you why. It's because you're an only child. You've never had anybody else to kind of like reflect for you.
that's
right?
a very big part of it.
I've had my brother for my whole life kind of being like, look, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? For good or bad.
Yeah.
You too, for to a point, maybe more so. But I mean, so it was on you,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
It's on you to make it work. It's on
Totally.
you to have fun and be, entertained. It's on you to,
And
that's why you're so successful too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but thank you. But like, yeah, just to kind of figure things out. I've gotten a lot better about asking people for insight and help, which is part of why I asked that question, because it was a curiosity for me. But yeah, a lot of times I kind of just like will go inward and just kind of figure, like let a question just kind of sit there for a little bit until somehow I come up with the answer, or I just at least get enough clarity on it that I can let it go. But yeah.
And do you usually find that answer by just thinking about it, or are you the type to seek help through conversation? Like, I mean,
with people I trust, or that people that like I feel like have a good perspective or insight, on it or something like that.
But you're not seeking out like a rabbi or a priest for advice or anything.
No, not necessarily. I mean,
No,
I'm a big proponent of therapy for sure.
Sure.
I love therapy.
Because like my mom's answer to anytime you have a problem is like, you should probably go talk to a priest. And it's like, I actually don't want to talk. Like that's maybe the last person I want to talk to.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of people's like.
To each their own. Yeah. It's like whatever brings you that clarity or that peace, you know what I mean? Because I think whether it's a priest or it's a therapist or it's a friend, you're doing the work yourself. That person is just kind of there to help facilitate that. And
it's
so
up to you
whatever
to make
works.
the action, to make the change.
Right.
People can give you as much advice or
Influence.
insight through their influence, through their own experiences and whatnot. But it's up to you to like, do you want to be a better person the next day?
Yeah.
Well, how many times have we gone through something and somebody's explained to us like, don't do that. It's going to happen like this, this, and this. And then it happens exactly like it. And you just kind of have to be like, all right, I guess,
Has this happened to you guys lately? Like now that we're approaching our 30s, it's I think way more than often, like, fuck, my mom like was right. She told me like you do have to do this and that, and especially now that like I have my own home, like there are so many things, like how we were talking about, like the voices of our past teachers in our head, they occur to us almost subconsciously after we do it. So like now when I'm taking out the trash on time or like washing the dishes and like just being a mature, responsible human, I keep hearing my mom's voice in my head. Does that happen to you guys?
Yeah, I think though I also start to get nervous about I will then someday be the voice for my child.
Exactly.
If I'm lucky enough to have a child, children, like
I'll find you a child. Thank you. Get you a child today.
But it's that realization that like, whoa,
They were right.
They were right, and they got there by living, and some of it also by their parents telling them or whatever. But like, I have now lived and have learned all of these things, and like I am going to be that voice and pass down things, and my child is going to be like, yeah, whatever, Dad. You know what I mean? Like, what do you know? And it's just wild to live out the cycle. You know what I mean? And to just realize, oh my gosh, like I'm getting to that point where my parents were at when they did this thing that made me roll my eyes or,
Oh, for sure.
Whatever.
But
like,
that's where
wild.
our parents were too. With
Exactly.
when you have a kid, do you think you'd be more comfortable with like a son or a daughter, like in terms of like what you know about yourself?
I'd like them to have both.
You'd like
I want that way I can decide. Today you're my daughter. Tomorrow you're my son.
Well, I mean, that's very progressive. That's very
The
progressive.
reality is they're going to decide.
They really
and like
will. Yeah.
that's going to be up to them. So I don't like. I used to think in just like my more binary thought, I would be like, oh man, I'm going to struggle with a daughter. I would love a daughter fiercely, but that's why I might struggle because I know what jerks boys can be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I got nervous about that, but now I'm more in a place of just like, one, I don't know if my child's going to be a boy or a girl or how they're going to identify, but also just like, no matter what, I'm going to want to protect them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like, I think that's a challenge that I look forward to. And sometimes I'm like, man, I don't ever want to be overbearing, but I want to protect them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to let them live their lives to a degree and be, free and figure things out. And so that's just, I think, a tightrope balancing walk that every parent
For sure.
has to do.
How many friends do you have like in your close circle that have children?
More and more.
But they're all pretty small.
The children?
The
Yes,
children.
the children.
Are the adults short?
all of
Kids
them.
are going to be fucking short too, and you
They're all
shouldn't hang out with
5'3",
them.
dude.
6+ or none.
Wait, what do you mean? Are they pretty small?
Well, like, are they young? Are they like
the
babies?
children. Some of them aren't. Like some of them are getting, some of
Getting
them
up
are
there.
like,
and
yeah, 10
and Christian,
plus.
for you, your group of friends, how many of them have
They're all
children?
small children. I mean, like,
Because for me, like, I've been around children my whole life. Like, there's always been a cousin or somebody who just had a kid, or a friend's, daughter who just had a kid. So I've seen quite a few children kind of like grow up and change. And now a lot of the kids when I was an actual kid who were like just being born are getting up until, 18, 19, they're finishing high school and shit, or just getting into high school. And it's really an interesting thing because the parents are changing and the kids are changing. And, I talk to the parents and see what kind of problems they're having and the difficulties that they're having with kids right now. And for me and Karen, we're both just like, it is just a fucking rough time to be raising a child right now. And for us, that's kind of like one of many reasons why we don't want to have children right now. Because it's just so fucking difficult right now to be a kid. Right. And it's just so confusing. And it's just, for me, and you guys know, my answer to a lot of things that are tough, difficult, or confusing is just like, I'll just wait until it's over then. You know what I mean? Let me see how this shakes out, and then I'll figure it out. So, but I mean, that's my big thing of like, I don't want a kid right now. It's just it's too difficult.
and you don't have to have a kid right now.
100%.
Really? Because this guy keeps asking me to have his kid, and I'm just like, please stop knocking on my door, sir. It's 4 a.m.
It's
We'll
okay.
work through that, but
That's a different problem.
But it's true. Yeah, I mean, the whole concept that like having a child is the meaning of life, and you're worthless if you don't. Like that's bullshit.
no,
That's
of course.
complete bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever feels right to you, when, if ever, is fine.
I think it's just insane that we're having this conversation right now, because like while you were talking about that, I had like a flashback of like us just being 17-year-old boys like on our way
Drinking
to San
Four Locos.
Francisco,
Right.
like taking Bart to San Francisco, leaving me behind, me meeting you
That
there.
was awful. How did that happen?
One
That
time.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
wouldn't happen now. Maybe, I don't know.
No, of course.
Well, we didn't do it on purpose.
I do want to tell that story real quick.
Do it.
So like we our high school improv
Gotta pee.
team.
You tell me why pee.
Okay.
will
Our
stay
high
with
school
you.
improv team, our senior year, planned a trip to go to San Francisco by BART, right? And it was all of us there. And I think I'm just, once again, too nice. So like we were already running late for the train. And as we were going up the stairs, there's so many people coming down that I kept on letting them pass me. And you guys had gone way far ahead of me. And when I finally got up there, I saw all of you guys on BART, and the door closes right in between us. And I remember your face vividly saying, "Oh no, Christian." And as the train passes, I see a poster of you for a John Muir ad. Oh my God. Smiling, talking to a doctor.
As I'm leaving you.
As you left me, I remember your face in like big despair, and then I just see your face on an ad, and I'm like,
Oh my God.
all right, well, I guess I lost them forever.
That's awful.
That was a fast pee. Good job.
And if I remember correctly, that story about leaving you behind, we left you behind because we thought we were on the wrong train,
No.
right? So we jumped to the other platform, but that was the wrong train. So when we picked you up, we still had to go to the other platform.
Something had happened. I was just too slow, for sure.
I think it literally was like, I think we're supposed to be on that train over there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Right? And we
I think
like
you're
ran
right.
around. And then that still ended up being the wrong
Yeah,
train.
You're right. And I
Right?
just could not keep up because of my physique at the time. And it was
No,
just...
I don't think it had to do with your physique. I think we pushed people out of the way.
Yeah,
And your
we probably-
kindness
Yeah.
stopped you from doing from doing that.
Which I do want to just touch on real quick because you said it a couple times. Too nice. Like I think that's bullshit. I think there's some
It's only
toxic
bullshit.
masculinity shit tied up in that as well. It's only bullshit if you can't hold your boundaries and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like be strong, which
But I
I
think at
know
the-
you can do.
Now I can
Yes.
do
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
sure. But at the time, I'm not so sure I was able to.
And that's very probably true. I didn't either. Like it's so I'm
can tell
speaking
you for
from
sure
a
you
place
couldn't.
of like being evolution for me, but just like the concept of being too nice, I think is, I think it's less about being too nice and more about just holding your boundaries and being able to set boundaries and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's tough.
You've said it a lot better than I would have, because my answer to Christian of why I don't think you should be as too nice is because people take advantage of it, and I've
Right.
seen it happen.
Right.
I've seen it happen unbeknownst to you. I've seen it where you're aware of it, and then I've seen where you're aware of it, and you're just like, well, you know what? I'd rather it be that way than the other way, and it's just like, I wouldn't.
yeah.
Like he's being a dick.
Yeah.
But if that like,
I mean,
but you're right, it's not the being too nice isn't the problem.
I learned
Right.
through my own vulnerability, though, rather than being too sheltered. I'd rather like get a little bit hurt and learn from it and become stronger from that, rather than like push everyone away and not ever knowing because
Yeah.
I was too hardened for it. So,
Yeah.
and that's a tough way of learning, like through women and through friends and through my early years of college before really meeting Melissa. Like I was going through this too nice phase.
Sure.
But now, like I kind of
Now
know
you're
my
a dick.
boundaries. And now I'm just an asshole, dude. I just like flip everyone off on the road and like.
I mean,
But you're
that's why
not.
we're on the
You're
side
as
of-
nice as you ever were. You know what I mean? You're just more, in tune with setting your boundaries and stuff
Yeah.
now, which is a beautiful thing.
And speaking of that, it's nice to see you grow in this, like growing up with you, because like even after high school and you moved to LA, like I was talking about, like we watched your the screening of Prep School. And then after that, I remember you vividly coming over with me, and like you and Alejandro came over and we watched Let Me In. What is it
They
called?
found hell.
They found hell. And then you were like, "This is the scene where I die. This is the scene where I die."
Some kind of drug or
Well,
alcohol.
because you filmed it. Yes, that was me for sure, 100%. But you filmed it in what, like Czechoslovakia,
Sofia, Bulgaria.
Bulgaria,
Yes.
yes,
Sofia, Bulgaria.
I remember you specifically saying that someone in the cast had such a thick accent that there had to be like a dubbing for it, right?
Yes.
Which is
got,
something I'd
fully
never
dubbed.
heard of.
You had most of your scenes with.
I had a lot of scenes with them. I think it wasn't even like, English was their second language. They had such a strong, I think, British accent.
Whoa.
And like they were trying to, do something else with it. I think I don't
Level it
remember.
out.
Yeah. And they ended up just dubbing over. That was just wild because that was like a made for TV sci-fi movie. Like that was so interesting because they paid us pennies. We were doing things that were extremely unsafe and unhealthy. And like, it just was not like it was like a non-union movie. You know what I mean? But it was
that's what it
so
is,
cool
yeah.
getting to experience that. I was like, I don't know what it was, 1920 or whatever like that, shooting in another country and, feeling like I was so cool. Now I look back and I'm like, wow, that was not safe. Like, they did not take care of us. Yeah, like the fog machines that they would use were like
Just a man
would
smoking.
burn this like tar, basically like it like burned this tar or whatever. So at the end of the day, you'd have to like pick out like black sludge from your nose. It was wild.
No,
yeah, it was
that's
wild.
not good.
But I had so much fun. Don't watch the
When
movie,
you
but
first
it's
came
so
back,
much fun.
When you first came back, the big thing you told me was like, and we all drank Jack and Coke.
and we all drink Jack. Yes,
you remember
exactly.
that?
Yes,
'Cause
but
I
it was
remember-
called like Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
It was like
it
a
all came
different
to one thing.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me all that. I'm like, that's a weird thing for you to like come back, because I honestly, that might have been the first thing you said to me was like, and then when we all drink Jack and Cokes, and I was like, that's a weird choice.
Yeah.
You had
Exactly.
crazy stories from that, and it was so cool because we were just doing DVC at the time and like hearing our friend
You
like
were.
go overseas to like film, and then I remember before that, you did Rent. I remember.
Are we going through my whole career right now?
I mean, because
I love it.
these are big.
Start with the beginning. You did a Chia Pet commercial.
I know that they seem like big events in your life, which they are. But hold up, the night that we watched him in Rent was the night I lost my virginity.
Was it?
Yeah,
I
dude.
never knew that.
I didn't see him in Rent. I saw him when he did In the Heights.
Oh,
Remember when you did that?
that was later on.
Yes.
That was a little bit later. Yeah.
That was later on.
Did you lose your virginity that night?
No, the girl I brought to that I'd been banging for a while. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So thank you. Yeah, it was
You're
crazy.
welcome,
Thank
Christian.
you. You're welcome.
There's a
I never
picture
knew
of
I had
us.
such an intimate connection with the night you lost your virginity.
Yeah,
That's
it
great.
wasn't a great night, but
I cried. She cried. We both cried.
I had to
God.
try again later.
Okay.
But it's fine.
Well, that's
But we all
awesome.
did the first time.
Yeah, we had the official first night the night after. So, dude, no, I just feel honored that like every time like you have something new, like you do reach out to us and you keep us in the loop. And like I remember when you got the role of Hamilton when it was still just a touring the touring cast, and I thought that was dope. And you were like, hey man, keep it on the down low. And I was like,
Keep it down the damn.
yeah, you were like, hey dude.
As I'm searching
That's
up
as I-
billboards in Benicia. What?
No, but of course, y'all are like some of my best friends. Of course, y'all's support like means the world to me, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude,
Always
of
have.
course, because I don't know, like I still have dreams of doing something beyond biotech. Right now, it's kind of like
What?
the state. I know, I just love making medicine,
I remember
which is
in middle
great.
school.
I was
you
gonna
being-
say like you're acting like that's not an awesome job though. That's a dope job.
I mean, when you
but
talk about it, it's
not
dope.
Yeah, you're right, and it is a great job. Don't cut yourself short. But the reason why he feels that way is because we are in a point in our lives where we know we should be doing and could potentially be doing so much more, so much better. And so we look at like the things we have to do.
Yeah.
As kind of not a slight, but as there's things we wish we could be doing instead.
I hear
But
you.
we got to do these things,
Yeah, I mean, no regrets at all. It's just the name of the game. I got engaged. I bought a house. I got a mortgage,
Yeah.
and like now I got to work this
Right.
this fucking job.
Right.
And it's good, but like and I know that I'll still have the time and opportunities to do it on the side. I
Right.
mean, at least I have this as like an outlet for my creative side.
Right.
And I have friends that want to be a part of it, and I could immortalize these moments. But shit, man, like what I would give to try it out, you know?
Yeah, I feel it.
But wouldn't everybody though? Aren't you like kind of cutting yourself short for something that everybody would want? Who wouldn't want that opportunity or that experience or that moment to be right? I mean, I think if you're using that as a hit on the back of your wrist because you feel bad for thinking that stuff, it's like, no, that's natural. Everyone wants that.
Yeah.
The difference is we have the talent and the power to do it, right? And we know we do.
I just got to do the
where
damn
shit-
thing.
Exactly.
It's
And
really about
that's
doing the
where
damn
punishment
thing.
comes from is when we don't do it and we're just like, why the fuck aren't we doing it?
Because it's as easy. Like you never know. Like what are we auditioning for? The last thing
We're
I
not.
auditioned for was that Jay Leno thing, and that was that.
Was that an
right?
audition or was that like, I want to be on the...
application?
Yeah. Because
And
my
then-
cousin was just on Let's Make a Deal.
Really?
Yeah, Jeff was just on Let's Make a Deal.
And what was the process for that?
The same thing you did. Like it's because those kind of shows, right? They need people. They need 200 people every day.
What would you do? What do you want to audition for?
Jeopardy.
Next
I'd
year.
fucking kill it at Jeopardy. I don't have a college degree.
You need a college degree
To be a contestant, except for Celebrity Jeopardy, you need to have a college degree.
You as an actor, are you allowed to do like? Are you like? Let's say.
I was like, you want to do like a scripted show? Like, what would you do? Jeopardy. What did you deal or no deal?
We love acting.
We love acting.
I like bullet or no bullet. You just shoot and hope there's...
Oh, dude, you're right. No, I want to audition for like a show that I would like to do
I
like,
was like,
at least commercial
Y'all are
work.
talented as hell. Like, aim a little higher, baby. Come on now.
Well, I mean, I keep telling myself there are. I don't want to talk about it. I'm shy.
Come on.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm shy.
Okay.
There are projects that Christian and I have always dreamed of and touched and started, but never really gone through. And I think one of the reasons why is because we are worried that it won't live up to the standard that we want it to be, right? But I think we got to just do it and start, right? Because that's how you start, just like this podcast, just like anything else we've actually gone through with. But we like compare it to the scope of what like you're doing and like, you know.
It probably won't live up to your standard. Like, you know, you could do what I'm doing and be like, oh, this is it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not fun as hell.
$1 million tomorrow to do this podcast. We'd spend it all and still be like, we should have done more, right? That's just the
right. That's just
nature.
Human. Yeah,
Can I ask you, like, what is your least favorite part of your job?
Sex scenes.
My least favorite part. I don't usually love sex scenes because it's very rare that they're handled well. My least favorite part of the job.
I need credit for not filling that space with a bad joke.
Oh, you do get credit for
I
that.
need credit for that.
Well done. Just
Actually,
so uncomfortable. You kind of did still. You still did, actually.
I retract it. The fact that you're asking for validation because of something you should do as a polite gesture when we're asking our dear friend a fucking question about the thing he loves most in the world. I'm not positively reinforcing
he's my
that.
elk friend.
You should know this.
You're not my dear friend. You're my elk friend.
Nicely done. I did not put that together, but I see it. I think probably my least favorite part is the lack of control. The sitting there waiting for the phone to ring and like waiting for a job to come in and like, you can change that by going out. See, it's funny hearing y'all talk about that. That's the way I feel about like writing or like producing or, doing something that allows me that like actually lets me take back some of that control and that power over my life. But I just don't do it. I just
because it's another thing to add.
Sure, that's true. But I think that, and then another thing that I didn't like for a long time was the like, the fear and everything that came when I was starting a new project. But like now I'm coming to see that as just part of the process and being like, oh, if I'm feeling this, that means that I'm like on the right track. That I'm like, I care about this thing and like I'm going to find my way into it eventually. But it might take a minute. So I guess that's
No, that makes sense.
That's the things, but it's just like all the feelings that y'all are talking about, I still have. Like these are feelings that don't really go away. You know what I mean?
It's
like
painted a different color.
You're never doing enough, or you're never
What's your proudest moment as an actor?
My proudest moment?
Yeah.
That's
man,
that is a great question.
Well, let me answer for Austin. It's when I came to go see him.
That was pretty great. And Girl from the North Country. Yeah, that was very, very
He didn't care
prevalent.
that Colin Farrell went to see him. Did not care that Draco Malfoy came to see him.
None of them knew him in the first grade.
That's true. No, I think probably it was the first time I stepped on stage as Alexander Hamilton and did the Alexander Hamilton thing. Because that was like, I don't know that I ever believed really in my heart that I could be someone who could not only lead a Broadway show, but like lead that.
A franchise.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like lead something that big.
The Broadway show.
Yeah,
I mean, they handed
exactly.
it to you. I mean, Hamilton was the biggest musical for like 5 years straight.
Yeah,
and I think it might still be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
And that also like that came after like 2 or 3 year saga of auditioning. Like I auditioned for the first time when I was in Sofia, Bulgaria shooting that movie.
Oh wow!
And that was the first time I had auditioned. Whoa. And then like didn't get it then, and that was before it had even gone to Broadway. It was still off Broadway at that point. And then I auditioned like a few months, like 6 months later, when I moved to New York, and had like 6 rounds of callbacks and ended up not getting anything. They were like, oh, we like you, but you're too young, you're too old, you're too whatever for all these things. And then it wasn't until like another 6 months later that I started going in for Hamilton for the first time, Alexander Hamilton, and had another like 3 or 4 rounds of callbacks and then got it. So like it was the end of this saga where, I was like, kept putting my heart into this room and really, really, really wanted it and, just not getting it.
I'm sure at times you must have like given up, right? And then come back to it and then right, you build up all this hope and then it becomes a longer process than it is. So
yeah, I mean, giving up, but also like they wouldn't see me anymore, right? Like that's another one of those things where it's like, it's not even just a matter of giving up. It's like, I had my shot and I didn't get it. You know what I mean? So it's like they're not going to keep calling me in until they want to. Sure. And so I've got to wait. Yep. I've got to sit here and wait for that.
Acting, right? Was it what they say? Acting is hurry up and wait.
Yeah, exactly.
In every sense,
sure.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah,
yeah.
So for a lot of reasons, that moment I think was a really big turning point for me and something that I was very, very proud of.
As a journey, like your actor's journey, like what do you think it's done to your ego overall? like Austin initially going to LA to pursue his dreams and Austin now? Like, where do you think, like, can you like describe the steps in which your ego has gone through?
So I think moving to LA was a big learning process for me because I spent like 2.5 years there and didn't really have any, major success. I did the TV movie and I had, some other commercial things and stuff like that. But really it was all about me learning how to step into a room and own my power and speak up for myself and hold my boundaries and, do all of that. That's really where I learned that was LA, because I had a lot of people saying they knew what the right thing was and talking in my ear, and all of this competition from other actors, and going into things and being like, how many followers do you have? And I don't have that many, like just all these learning the industry and learning how to like hold on to myself while navigating the industry. I think I learned mostly in LA.
And you have to recognize how iconic or unique that is, right? Because how many times do we hear about superstars and stuff like that who give up stuff and don't do the things that they want to do or take the choices that they want? I mean, for me, one of the things I'm most proud of for you, Austin, is that you've never sacrificed any of the things that make you, and you're doing it in the most unconventional way that if any person would tell this story, they'd say like, well, that doesn't happen. It's like, it does happen. It happens when you work hard and you put in the hours and you do the things and you have the talent and you have the background behind it and you have like the personality. It's not just being talented. It's not just moving to LA. It's not just taking the auditions. It's not just having a team. It's all of those things and then some. And that's what makes, that's what makes somebody successful. Right? Think about how many people get off the bus in LA and have talent out the ass but don't have the work ethic, or have work ethic out the ass but don't have the talent, or any which way of that kind of combination. And I think what a lot of people, and what I stress to people when they talk about you, is like, no, like, yeah, he's done all these things and he deserves all these things, but it's way more than that because you worked, you did it. Yeah. You put the time in, you did the struggle, you did the things, and you're talented on top of it, and you're a good person on top of it. It's like, that's why his story is the one that people are going to remember. His story is the one that people are going to talk about later on, because everyone has a story of, my mom was this and my dad was a casting director. That's how I got my first role in Zoe 101. You don't have that. And yet you have arguably a better career and a better success than a lot of people who did, at least from where I'm sitting.
You're gonna make me cry. No, I thank you.
That's really why I love you, man. That's why I'm proud of you
too, man. I'm so glad that that's recorded, because I'm gonna play that back on days when I'm struggling. That's so generous and kind. I appreciate that. I guess that is true to a degree. I grant and see that there are things that I give myself credit for sure, and I'm also aware that a massive part of this is luck. It's a massive part is luck. The luck, you have to have the luck, because the luck is the timing. The luck is, the opportunity, the room, the door opening up and being able to, go into that room, or the right project coming up at the right time, that you're the right age and the right look for it and all of that thing. That's the luck. The other part of it is you got to be prepared when the opportunity comes up, for sure. You've got to do the work. You've got to, have the talent and all of that stuff. So I definitely acknowledge that. Yeah. And I acknowledge that it is a massive degree of luck,
to a point. But like I told Christian when we started this podcast, you don't get luck, or you don't have luck even come up or be an opportunity unless you prepare for it. Right.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I mean, to a point it is luck. Sure. But you wouldn't have gotten, at least where I'm sitting, you wouldn't have gotten that luck if you didn't do the work to set it up. You don't get.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, and one of the things I'm thinking about while we're doing this whole podcast is the three of us all had the same goal. When the three of us graduated college or graduated high school, we all had the same goal and intention. And of the three of us, you're the only one who went through with it. You did move to LA and you did the auditions and you did the work and you did the stuff.
But I will also say though, like I had parents who, I'm not saying you didn't have these parents, but like my dad always had a dream of his name up in lights, right? And he tells me this story all the time of like, I always had this dream of my name up in lights, and I realized one day that it wasn't mine, it was yours. It was your name. And because we have the same name, I'm also the third.
That's
Elton Scott.
Deep.
And so he never pushed me. They never pushed me, but they always were very they drove me to LA.
Opportunistic.
Yeah, exactly. Like they drove me to LA for auditions and stuff. And I had, my dad wasn't working, so he could do that. He could take me down to LA and all that stuff. So like there are a degree of circumstances that I had from a young age that definitely played a part. You know what I mean? Even though we all, I'm just saying it's not always an equal playing field. You know what I mean? Like circumstance is different for each person, and I acknowledge that.
Well, and for me, that means a lot to me because for years I, punished myself and treated myself badly for not doing the things that we said we were going to do and not giving myself the opportunities that I thought I wanted, and instead making the decision to work and give myself up to working in a restaurant, and so much to the point where like I stopped going to school and I stopped doing all these things, and my opportunity, my immediate goals were different, right? And so I adapted to what it was and convinced myself that was my long-term goals. And I always punished myself and blamed myself for not doing the things that you did because I told myself we had the same opportunity, but you're 100% right.
Yeah.
I mean,
You also shouldn't compare. I'm sorry.
No, please go.
I'm just saying you shouldn't compare yourself.
Right.
oh, duh.
Period.
Yeah,
exactly. That's
period. That's the umbrella
Right.
over all of
Right.
it.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. But like another thing that I didn't have to wait tables, right? Because my dad was in the military. He got injured in the military. So the United States government paid for my college. And not only that, but because my dad is a disabled veteran, I got a monthly stipend as his caretaker. So I had help from the government financially that meant I was in a place where I could audition all the time and not have to worry about how to get out of a serving job or something like that. I had other jobs. I drove for Uber and drove for Lyft and all that stuff, but I had more flexibility than most people do. So again, I'm not trying to say that, it's all luck for me and whatever. I'm just acknowledging, and I think it's very important to acknowledge that everyone's circumstances are different, and you can either capitalize on those or, bypass them. You can work against your circumstances. It's not to say that you can't, if your circumstances are not X, you can't do Y.
Sure.
But it's just that what you said, you should never compare to anyone because all you see are the highlight reels and the, what they've accomplished and all these things. And you don't really see how their situation might be different from yours or how the building blocks were different or, all of that stuff. It's just,
you could use someone else's situation or success as a constructive influence, something to push you, cause that's
It's a catalyst or a cap.
Right. Yeah. And I don't want it to I don't want someone else's success as like a comedian or as a singer to like make me be like, oh, I'm never going to make it. I try, and it's not always in my favor, but I try to be like, oh, if they could do it, I could do it too. It motivates me. If you could use it constructively, then that's good. If we could look at Austin's success as a performer and be like, he did it and I can too. That's better than we had the same goals as him and when we didn't do it, rather than and having it pacify us. That's not like the right thing, because I get that too. I've definitely compared myself to other people, and but you're right. It's it's not always an equal playing field. Right. Some people have the more resources to help propel them into
different resources.
Different resources,
not more or less.
Different resources that could help them in certain situations. And I deeply appreciate, it's nice to hear that your parents, they didn't push you. They didn't force you to do this.
No, but they were always very supportive.
And they supported. And I kind of envy that. And my parents were always supportive of me doing it, but they wanted me to finish school, get my degree, and then I could do whatever the fuck I want after I have that piece of paper. But I remember,
our parents had different objectives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. My parents wanted me to have stability, which makes complete sense, and now I have that.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a time that I went with my dad to a casino. I think it was Thunder Valley Casino, and they had
Nice.
They had karaoke there, right? And I went, and because he said, "Do you want to go sing some karaoke?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And at the time, I was
And it drove you an hour and a half out to do karaoke.
no. He wanted to go gamble and all that stuff. Filipinos love casinos.
Yes, they do.
But he brought me there, and I signed up, and I sang. At the time, I was just in community college. I was going to Diablo Valley College, and I was just singing. And I sang like Superstition by Stevie Wonder, and I sang Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin. I sang those two songs, and I remember getting off stage, and there was this like bearded man that came up to me, and he was just like, "Hey, I like what you did up there.
Come back to my room.
Come back to my room 567.
Do some more."
But he gave me this business card. He says like, "Hey, I'm part of this band that like does like every casino in this like area from like Sacramento all the way to like so and so, and we're looking for a vocalist right now. Our vocalist just dropped out. Please email us back. We're based out of Sacramento." And then I ran up to my dad, and like I should have been, this is where a boundary should have been set. Ran up to my dad. I said, "That guy just gave me like an opportunity to like audition for his band, and they like audition at, or they perform at casinos regularly, and like they have like other things." And my dad said, "Sacramento's far. You should focus on school." And that is something I constantly think about. And I love my father, and he's like, he set me up for success.
Right.
But
It's those moments.
Yep.
It's those moments.
Two
though.
words is all it takes for somebody to be like, "Oh, okay, you're right."
Yeah.
And then we sit on it and lament on it and think about it. But you have to know that in the moment, your dad was probably weighing the cons of being like, "My son's not going to be a casino singer. I know he wants to be a singer, and I know getting the gratification from being in front of people, this could be it."
No, not even that. I think he was weighing out the cons, the pros and cons, in the sense that like Sacramento's far, that's gas money. That's time, and that's his time away from school. You just got accepted to Davis,
Right.
which is like Davis is closer to.
Hey, I mean, he should have thought about it a little bit more, honestly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I should have. I don't blame him at all. Like he comes from a different background, so.
Also, those decisions, that advice has led you here. And from my perspective, you have a very beautiful life. You have a fantastic life. You know what I mean? And so that was not wrong. You know what I mean? That was just his idea of the lane. You know what I mean? And for all you know, that thing could have not gone anywhere. You know what I mean? So you never know. You never know. But it is in those moments where it can go this way or it can go that way. You know,
Well, and the
and
difference
it's not
is
necessarily one is better than the other or any. You know.
Yeah, and the difference is, you just told this story about your parents, and I think our parents' objective was different and was different than what we wanted, right? I mean, your objective and your parents' objective lined up incredibly well.
Exactly.
But it'll always be a battle for us and our parents, and I've just accepted it. They're not going to accept what it is and how it is, but not to say that you don't, but like luckily I have a mom and a dad, my mom in particular, who'll see this podcast and stuff and be like, you know what, I don't get it, but it's working for him.
Yeah.
And it took a while. Like it took months for me to like really explain it to her and stuff. And because it's not something they understand. The word podcast wasn't a fucking thing even 15 years ago, so.
Dude, and whatever this is, like it's memories. It's like performing. It's hanging out with my best friend. It's
and me too.
Immortalized. Yeah, hanging out with my best friend. It's immortalized these conversations for eternity, and whatever it turns into, and like we're hoping that it turns into something that we can like really monetize from. But
and even if it doesn't, I remember my mom asking me, she's like, "You're gonna be okay with your kids in the future being able to listen to the things that you've just said?" And I go, "Yeah, because my kids, I'm not going to lie to them. I'm not." Oh, that sounded really bad, but that is what I said. Because my parents hid a lot of things from us, from me and my brother, right? They didn't tell us a lot of things. We didn't know a lot about them growing up or who they were as people. We knew them solely as mom and dad, and they made a point to make sure that that's how we only saw them. It's only until really recently that I've really gotten to know my parents, and they've really gotten to know me as a person. And I don't want that relationship with my children. If my children want to listen to this, I can almost guarantee they won't, because who wants to listen to their fucking dad talk for 2 hours for 500 fucking episodes? Nobody.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You finish your thought.
Well, no, but that I want them to. And I want them to know who I was and see how I grew and see how I learned and relate that to their experiences and know that I have been through this. My parents' whole thing was like, we don't tell you our problems because we don't want you to use them against us, like when we have an argument. But it's like, but wouldn't I not use it against you because I can now relate to you and know that you're understanding and you're telling me no because you've been through it? But then my kid's going to be an asshole who doesn't listen anyways because that's how I was. So.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know
Yeah,
because I don't know much about my dad. Like, he really has layers, and like, I'm even at this age, I'm still learning a lot about him. And like, he doesn't even have pictures of himself as a kid because I think they all burned down in the Philippines or something like that. So I don't know much about him. But now these are like moments, like if my son or daughter, whoever in the future, like ask like what were you in like in your mid 20s to late 20s, and be like, well, here's the collection of 1,000 episodes that you could like really do, and also get me those motherfucking views in 20 years.
All right, that's when we want them in 20 years.
20 years. Exactly,
yeah, set a timer, baddies.
Yeah.
But you know, both that is so true, and also this is so powerful. Like when I first found out that y'all were doing this, and like I'm so honored to be on it because this is big. This is taking the power, kind of like what I was talking about with the writing and everything, and like this is creating something that is your own. This is giving yourselves a platform, and all it takes is the right person to see this at the right time, to see one episode, to see 3 minutes of it.
Yep.
Seth Rogen happens to stumble upon, 3 minutes of your episode and is like, oh, that's funny. We should call them in. Da, da, da. And just like that, y'all are massive. Like that's how easily it can happen.
For sure.
But that can only happen when you are brave enough to create something and stick to it, which y'all are doing. Yeah. So that's amazing. That's fantastic. And that's no small feat. And the last thing I'll say on this is everyone's timeline is different. Everyone's timeline is different. Some of the best actors out there, the people I respect the most, didn't start till they were 40 or 50. Olivia Colman, I think, is one of the best actors we have, and she was a maid until she was 44, and now she's one of the biggest movie stars in the world. So all I'm saying is like it's never too late to do the thing that you always dreamed of, and everyone's timeline is different, and what y'all are doing is no small feat. Like this is very impressive and powerful. So I'm very honored to be here, and thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think that's something.
Thank you.
I think it's something we knew in the background. Bless you. Never again. This is such a deep moment.
Hail Satan.
And then you followed up with something like that.
I know. This is what I deal with.
Everyone has a different God.
That's where Seth Rogen's just like, I was going to call them.
Seth Rogen has heard our show.
Exactly.
He reached out to me to tell me he'll never listen again.
So, no, I feel like that what you just said is something we knew in the back of our minds. All it takes is like 3 minutes or like a clip on Instagram for someone to see and be like, okay, let me like dive into their YouTube channel. And like, boom, it could blow up that way. But to hear it, these are things that, they're lodged into our subconscious, but like to hear it again, especially from someone that we trust and look up to, that's motivational. Now I just want to I just want to keep doing this. I just want to keep making more and more and more and more.
And I've always said since we started the podcast, this is the garage band of the modern day, right?
Yeah.
So like how many garage bands did get seen, did get heard and turned into something, a number.
Yeah.
How many of them never did?
Yeah.
Even more. But it's like, but at the end of the day, they all had an experience, they all had enjoyment and still got something from it.
Exactly. I'll give you one little story on to reinforce that point. I get a phone call from Tyler Perry in 2021, right? And I'm like, why would Tyler Perry be calling me? He had seen me on Pose. I was on Pose for, a grand total of 3 minutes, maybe. He'd seen me on Pose. He had this movie in his mind, and Netflix, the studio, had mentioned Regé Jean, who is the actor from Bridgerton that I look a lot like, and I get a lot of that. And the day that they had mentioned Regé Jean's name, he had seen me on this episode of Pose for the 2 seconds that I was on it, and put the two together. He kind of looks like Regé Jean. Huh. Could be cool to, get somebody new. And that's why he called me. And that is very much It's not because I was Hamilton for 2 years. It's not because of whatever else I did. It's because of that 2 seconds on a show that I almost didn't even audition for because I didn't think I was going to get it. Because I was like, this is like a shirtless, beach guy, lifeguard. Yeah, exactly. Like I would never get that. Yeah. I would never get. So I almost didn't even go in for that. But my manager convinced me to go in for it.
Wow.
And so there's one turning point, right? And then I almost didn't do the shoot because I had a vacation scheduled and they shifted the dates and we almost couldn't work it out. And I finally just agreed to like cancel my vacation and do the thing. There's another turning point. And then Tyler Perry had to turn that on at the right time. And he was in the place to be receptive to me and thinking about his film, called me. And then I got to star in my first big movie, right?
Incredible.
That's what I'm talking about, right? And that is that is the platform you have created for yourselves here. And that's anybody who's listening. It can be that simple. That's where luck meets preparation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's where the opportunity happened because of a random alignment of stars in the cosmos. But I then did the work and showed up and, put my effort in to read the material well, and he likes my acting. But
because all of that could have happened, and then they bring you in, and then you're like, the cat runs
exactly
fast, and they're like, Tyler, what the fuck are you thinking, dude?
So you got to be ready. You got to put in the work. You got to have the talent. All of that for sure. But the rest of it is just random. So all you can do is just put yourself out there, and hope for the best.
I think what also helps us too is we do love this podcast. Right. We just love being here and being in this moment, talking to people, meeting people, and just having that opportunity. You mentioned the thing about, if the manager, that was one turn, and then Tyler Perry, that was another turn. I was just telling Christian the last time we recorded, we ended up spending a couple hours downstairs just drinking and talking. And I told him, I've been thinking a lot about that Nicolas Cage film, Family Man, which we had just done a review on. And I was like, one of the lines that they said was, no choice is inherently good or bad. They're just choices. Right? You just got to kind of live with them. And that has and I told to Christian, I've been thinking about that a lot. And Christian was like, you've been thinking about that a lot? I'm like, yeah, because that's such a beautiful, inherent fact that nobody addresses because it's hard to believe. But yeah, choices aren't good or bad. They're just choices, and you go with what happens. And if a choice was made differently, you'd go with what happened in that sense too.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
So make choices, people.
Exactly.
It's what kind of does it? How do you build on that choice? Is really what is good or bad, right? Not necessarily what was done, right?
I mean, yeah. I was gonna say it's what. It's not how do you build, is the building good or bad? Because we just said it's inherently not good or bad. It's just what is open up now. What are the options now?
Yeah. And you never know what the outcome is going to be. You never know. You know what I mean? This is a wild, ridiculous thing. But I could do a project where the character is a biochemist. And I say, oh shit, I have a friend who could consult on that. Let me, bring him on. While you're there, by the way, he's an actor and a singer. Oh, we have this other role that we were just writing, where this guy is singing in at a piano bar. Oh, he's here. Let's do it.
Please tell me this is true.
No, but it could
I'm
be.
not there.
Saying?
Not in
but
your
it could
case.
be. And what I'm saying is that is something that would only be made possible in that random, unique, specific scenario.
But stuff like that happens.
because you went to school and you finished and you became a biochemist. You know what I mean? So it's just
there are stories
you just never
like
know.
that.
Danny Trejo.
There are always stories like that.
They brought Danny Trejo in as just a person to tell people how to act like convicts on Con Air, and then everybody was like, he's actually pretty good at this,
right? Yeah.
And he spent time in prison,
right?
Why don't we just use him?
Yeah.
And now Danny Trejo is Danny fucking Trejo,
and he has his own taco place in L.A. and that fucking.
Oh, so does we, man. Let's not get it. The taco thing isn't success.
Yeah, dude. I think this is such a constructive talk for us as creators, because it's easy to get in our own heads, to kind of have this battle and clash with our own egos, and really trying to gauge our success with something like a podcast. It's easy to try to gauge your success by looking at the numbers, when it's not truly the numbers. It's it's more than just that. And to get validation from someone we know and love, as opposed to validation from the numbers we see on a screen,
right?
means
Which our
the absolute
validation
world.
baddies don't think we're diminishing you.
Yeah, please keep watching
yeah.
and give us the watch time and all that
It's
stuff.
just we love
Subscribe and
Austin
listen.
more than every single fucking one of you.
I didn't say that. We love you. We
I
love you
did.
guys, but we've known you for a long time.
It's all about that dedicated fan base, though, no matter what size it is,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Nice, good save.
the numbers can change overnight,
Yes.
easily. You
Yes.
know what I mean? So like, you got to just do it for your
Well,
people.
and we've seen numbers in other countries and other places that just pop for like a month or an episode or
Yeah.
something silly, and it's like, oh well, that's cool. Somebody out in Lithuania somehow stumbled upon us and they downloaded the last 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes that happens.
yeah.
Should we do an improv scene?
I think we should.
I think.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about how you missed it. We never do this.
This whole thing is essentially an improv scene.
It
though,
really
right?
is. I mean,
Aren't
conversation.
all conversations though?
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. So the way we usually do improv on I don't have to explain improv to you. We're just gonna do improv. It could be about whatever. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because we haven't really done. I want to eventually get together and like do like a get our old improv team together in this household and like record it and just do improv and put it up on YouTube. And sounds like you guys are against the idea. Let's just do an improv scene.
No. I'm in my head about what I'm going to.
What you're gonna
be
do?
good on improv.
The thing about improv is you don't plan it, bro.
Yeah, I know. All right,
Here's your
let's go.
script. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you do get nervous.
I do.
What?
I get
And
nervous.
you blush.
I get. I get a slightly darker hue. No, I get.
Excited.
Yes. Because it's not it's not different really. It's not different.
No, there isn't.
There's
It's how-
really
it's
no
where your
difference.
brain is.
Yeah, the it's the same physical reaction whether you're nervous or fearful or excited. So
said
it's
that to my
really
nephew.
just about how you
frame
label it and frame it. Yeah, 100%. So I'm excited and I'm choosing to call it nervous because, it's an uncomfortable feeling.
I'm very
Pull
familiar
that
with
blanket up a little bit higher.
it. There you go. Your safety blanket, like Linus.
Let's do it, bro.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, highly irrelevant.
Mom, Dad.
Yeah.
I need to tell you guys something. It's something that I've been thinking about for quite a while now.
Okay.
I don't know how to bring this up to you.
Before you do it, can you set the plates?
Well, actually, Mom, that's why I'm bringing this up. I want to eat all. Dad? Oh, Dad's awake. He can hear us now.
Yeah. You want to speak loud enough?
I'm sorry. Ew.
Honey, are you okay?
I was just telling you that
I was watching I Dream of Beaver and it just
Don't
took
we
me
all?
out. You know how sometimes I glaze over. What were you saying, son?
I was getting to my point, actually. It's just that I want to eat out of a dog bowl on the floor like a dog. I don't want to eat at the table with plates and silverware anymore. I want to wear a collar, and I want to walk on all fours, and I want to eat out of a bowl and lap out of a bowl of water. And I think it's important that you guys know that that's where I feel. And I mean,
It was 1973
Oh, here we go, Mom.
Yeah.
when George Carver took the stage at Wimbledon.
I mean, you tell me this every week.
He wanted to be an astronaut when he was 5 years old. Did you know this?
I mean, only because you've told me
You
this.
know this, Martha.
Oh, of course I know this. I've heard this
He
story a bunch
wanted
of times.
to be
an
An astronaut. You can finish the story. You know it so
he
well.
wanted to be an astronaut.
I
And
mean, we could all finish it, honestly.
We're talking, son.
actually, it wasn't actually possible because, like, as much as media says, reach for the stars, it was he could not handle the G-force. It would actually make him puke profusely. And profusely. And it's very similar to my sister, your Aunt Martha. I'll let you have this one. You remember what Aunt Martha wanted to be when she was a kid?
Martha. What a piece of ass.
And I don't get offended. We're identical
And he says
twins.
it every time.
We're identical twins, so it's actually flattering.
Beautiful. And I digress. Martha was a wonderful, wonderful woman. She wanted to be a penguin.
Penguin.
And talking about the animalias, yes, the animalias of it all. She wanted to be a penguin. And what did you say to Martha?
I said it's not physically possible, Martha. You have a husband and kids to take care of, and we're not in the North Pole. Silly. She thinks we're in Antarctica, so we just had to let her down.
Absolutely ridiculous
It's
when you think
Everybody
about it.
shut the fuck up for a second, because Mom, are you in the North Pole and Antarctica? Those are two different parts of the world.
Penguins exist in both,
No,
right.
they don't.
He's
actually.
right.
They
He's
only
right.
exist in Antarctica, Mom. They're only in Antarctica.
but it's
What
nice to
my
dream.
point is,
What his point is, dear,
you are a cat, son.
you're more of a cat. We see you. Look at the way your shoulders are hiked up right now. You're being a little fussy.
We've known since you were 2.
You started licking your skin at 2.
Dogs lick their skin. I just hate shitting in that box.
But dogs do not have the tongue scrapers on their tongue.
No.
They can't comb their fur.
They can't
They
do it.
merely salivate upon it.
Yeah.
That's not you, son.
We've seen how you drink water from a bowl. You dip it in there just like a cat does.
Just like a cat.
And you know why? You know
Look at
why?
us, son.
You know why their
Look
tongue,
at us when we're speaking to you, boy.
You know why their tongue feels like sandpaper? It's because they're like little spoons in there. They're like little spoons. So when they,
Dad told me that was God's
Spoons.
gift to the cats.
oh, it's great. They don't have to scoop it up into their throats like a.
It's true.
Dog.
It's true.
It's
so
true.
I have a resolution to this identity issue.
Well, can I just bring this into the fray?
Oh, please.
Dad, I found your yearbook from 1954. And if you'll look back here at page 72,
Do you still lick your finger when you turn pages?
the Furry Club of Bellevue High School in 1952. Look who is captain of the furry squad,
I
Mom.
don't.
Yeah, no, I see. It's
Look, who is it?
it's Gershwin Johnson.
Oh. Oh, fuck. That's not Dad?
I mean, the one next to him is Dad.
I don't want you to repeat my mistakes.
Yes, he was a
I
furry.
don't want you to go down the path that I have led. It took me years to decide that I was not that human, that animal.
But Dad, I am an animal.
And that's okay.
And I love animals.
That's
Wait, is that not?
a bit deeper.
Is
Honey,
that not what we're talking about? But it's fine.
I'm lost. Hang on, I'm a little lost.
You
What
want,
is it that
you
we're
want
talking
to
about?
be a dog.
I want to eat like a dog.
You
That's
want to
right,
eat like
okay.
a dog.
Woo, lost
You
it
know
for a
what,
second.
son? He's right.
I'm
He's
just-
right.
I just want to be like you, Dad.
You should follow your dreams and don't let me hold you back. Don't let Martha. You're beautiful, beautiful, not quite as hot as her sister mother.
still a piece of ass, though.
Well, that's
Don't let us hold you back.
Honey,
boy. I'm not afraid to show you this. My furry helmet.
oh, it's a dog.
I'm a dog.
That's okay.
I've certainly seen better, but you know,
Well,
it's a start.
It's made out of trash.
Yeah, well,
It's not hygienic, honey.
we'll get to work on that. I'll help you, son.
And honestly, I this is all just a big cry for help because the paper mache in here is falling apart.
Cut to the pound.
Cut to the pound. We love you, son.
Yeah, then let me out.
Oh, this is taking a turn. All right.
I
Well,
think you'll be fine, but you'll be safer here. There's a lot of
I'm
cars
not a
near
real
our
dog,
house.
Mom.
There's a lot
I'm
of
just
near-
pretending.
this
No.
is the thing about not knowing how to end a scene.
All right, cut to the bedroom. I love this. I love this so much.
This was so much fun.
Let's just we can just say our goodbyes. and say
Yeah,
our
this was
happy
really fun. This has been going on longer than I thought it was going to, but that's because it was just really fun to do. Really
have
fun to
had
do.
So much fun.
So nice to have you in the studio. Nice to have all three of us in the room. Shout out to Otis. He wishes he could make it here, but he has to go save lives, so he has to get some rest before he goes onto a shift as a nurse. But he says hello, and he loves you dearly.
Hi, Otis. I love you dearly as well.
And we love you too, Otis. Let's let's wrap this up. Austin Scott III.
Do you have a middle name?
Winfield.
Winfield.
Whoa.
What? You're making that up.
I'm not making that up.
Get out of town.
I don't know if I've ever
I
even
will.
seen like Austin
In a few days.
W. Scott.
Austin W. Yeah, I don't really use it for much, but I also don't use the third anymore because it's just too long.
Yeah,
But
of course. Yeah.
I should, because now you Google Austin Scott and two things come up. One is a
Your dad and
super
your grandpa.
conservative Republican congressman from Georgia, I believe, and the other is a professional football player who may have murdered someone.
Whoa.
So it's
Maybe
unfortunate.
not. Those are people you should strive to be like. Well, that's also why J. Edgar Hoover changed his name to J. Edgar Hoover, because there was another John E. Hoover who like was writing bad checks, and he was like, I don't want to be associated with him. I want to leave the FBI and wear women's panties.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that fact before from you before, and it's yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Let's wrap this up. Austin, happy holidays
Happy holidays, y'all.
to you and your family. Please tell them we say hello and we love you from the bottom of our hearts.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming over. Thank you for spending time with us, and thank you for talking. One last thing, if you could please look into the barrel of your camera and leave the listeners with a piece of advice, an anecdote, or a phrase.
Better to have. I was
Still in that voice.
I was trying to come up with like some Dr. Seuss thing that is making up. Better to have a shoe on Tuesday than a sock on Thursday. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. Austin, where can they find you? Where can listeners follow you and all of that stuff?
You can follow me at AustinScott93 on Instagram, Twitter, all those things.
And it's verified, people.
Where could they watch some of your work, and what could they expect to see in the future?
It's a small unknown website, right? Called Netflix
Yeah, you can go on Netflix.
and Broadway.
Yeah, Netflix, Jazzman's Blues, now streaming. Sterling Affairs should come out next year on Hulu and FX.
Hang on, is Ed O'Neill Donald Sterling?
He is.
Wow.
And Lawrence Fishburne is Doc Rivers.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, baddies. We love you, and remember, it's better to have shoes on Tuesday than a shark on Thursday.
A sock.
Sock.
On
That's what
Thursday.
you said.
On Thursday. I gave you this nugget of gold, and you just.
Well, you were talking
destroyed
like
it.
this. You were talking. It's better to have
Better to
shoe.
have a shoe on Tuesday than a sock on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Can't be that bad, oh, it 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 can't be that bad.